All right, I am here. Indeed. Indeed, I am here. Everyone, welcome to the live stream. Got a good handful of people. I didn't scare everyone away with the promise of Fusion 360. Some people love it, some people hate it. Hopefully we won't have too many connectivity issues today. I'm already getting a small warning about stream status, but I think it's okay. As always, let me know if anything looks or sounds extra funky. But otherwise, we should be good. And today's going to be a pretty exciting stream. Haven't done some live Fusion 360 in a while. And that's what we're doing today. So, just in case someone's popping in here with no idea how they ended up here, today we're going to be doing some live design in Fusion 360 of the winning skin design entry for the Tippi Tree skin design competition. If that still doesn't mean anything to you, well, you got to go look at my Tippi Tree video. I'm not about to do a whole presentation right now about that. No, because we've got a lot of work to do in Fusion 360. So, with that said, I'm going to jump over to the corner here. You guys can see what's going on. Make sure my little keyboard thing is here so you guys can see what keys I'm typing in. And yeah, we're already in Fusion 360. We're not building this from scratch, but we're going to build it on top of my existing Tippi Tree file. So this is actually the very original classic Tippi Tree. Hopefully you're familiar. If you're not, you're missing out. Yes, Aditya, I know my hair is funky. For one thing, I'm trying the virtual green screen thing. I have an actual green screen, but I'm using a virtual green screen with the actual green screen. It looks a little better, I think. Not perfect, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse for my hair. My hair is just crazy. Haven't cut it in very many months. All right, so today we're going to be designing Jen Day and Bill Drastel's winning entry, the Tippi Tree. This is the entry that got the most votes, and I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm doing this, I'm winging it a bit, I'll be honest. I haven't like run through the process and planned things yet, but I think we'll be okay, even though it's a very detailed piece. So, I'm gonna jump straight into it. We're gonna drop some canvases onto our model here. Basically, we're going to bring in the drawings that Jen and Bill did, the original drawings that they submitted. We're going to bring them in as a canvas, which will be a nice backdrop for us to see what we have to do. So there it is. It's a canvas. I can scale it up really easily and just drag it into place. This is kind of just a visual reference, so I don't need to worry about the scale being absolutely perfect, but I can get it pretty close just by eye. Looks like the Tippi Tree is maybe a little bit shorter than the original. But anyways, I'm going to make it fit onto the original Tippi Tree. That already looks pretty good. If only it was so easy. It's just like, go. Actually, there probably are ways that I could do this in Blender, where I could just use a depth map and instantly transfer this drawing onto the surface. In fact, a lot of people would suggest Blender or anything besides Fusion 360 for doing something so detailed and kind of sculptural like this. But nope, I'm going to do it in Fusion because I like the challenge and obviously it's something I'm very familiar with. So I'm starting with a sketch on this side here. We're just going to get rid of the existing drawing. So I'm just going to extrude inwards a little bit to cut away my original face and do a join function to turn that into a blank canvas. There we go. And we've got the face on every side, so we have to do a pattern. I'm going to do a circular pattern of that extrude feature. I'm going to select it. Oh, how do I point to it? I'm in the way of the timeline. Okay, over here. There. There it is in the timeline. Tickle, tickle. Uh-oh. Our little extrude feature. So we can select that from the timeline, and then for the axis, since I built my original Tippi Tree right around the center axis, I can use that Z-axis to do a rotation of the pattern and do 4 patterns for the 4 sides. And boom. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, we've got a fully blank Tippi Tree. Nice. Travis, is My Mini Factory the only way to obtain the STL files for Tippi Tree? Or do members here get access to it too? I don't know what you mean by members here. On YouTube, I don't have a members program. If you are a patron, I do have a link that I posted on Patreon for a discounted Tippi Tree. But generally, if you're printing Tippi Tree, you're going to find it on My Mini Factory. And if you want to buy it, I've actually partnered up with Angled.io, which is a print-on-demand service. So you can actually get a Tippi Tree even if you don't own a 3D printer. It's going to cost you a bit. 3D printing isn't that cheap, but that said, I was actually surprised at how low they were able to bring the cost. Shipped and printed and everything on demand. It's pretty impressive. Taran or Taran? I'm not sure, but thank you for the super chat. I do not have cheese to eat on stream. I apologize. So as you can see, I should be talking about what I'm doing. I just used the project command to project one of the sides from each side of this root from the top down so that I could make a square that matches it perfectly, because just like the face, I'm going to go ahead and make it a blank canvas. So I'm going to do an extrude through the roots and just join it. Yeah, just blank canvas, and then we'll add back those chamfers so we can select all these edges. Actually, all we have to do is select these 4 faces, and then we can hit 1 to make a 1mm chamfer. I'm so excited that Fusion lets us do this now. For some reason, you wouldn't be able to select faces in the past for chamfers. You could do it for fillets. But they've actually done some changes with their chamfer tool. Here's the standard chamfer, but you can actually change the corner type now. We can make it a miter, or this interesting blend, a little hexagon cap. Quite nice. I'm going to stick with the classic, though. Steven, will I be releasing the Fusion files for custom Tippi Trees? Probably not for the time being, because I am still looking into potential ways to market Tippi Tree beyond 3D printing. And if I want to license it to a game company or something along those lines, having the full Fusion 360 file available online kind of reduces the value of the game to another company like that. So as much as I love making things open source and available to everyone, I limit that to certain projects of mine. This project is kind of my passion project and something that I want to see how far I can take it. And it does require a commercial aspect. Anyways, here we've got our blank tree. Thanks for the super chat, Michael. A tippy tip. Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Every super chat today is a tippy tip. Thanks for the great idea. All right. As usual, doing things live takes a lot longer because I'm looking at the chat and talking to you guys. I probably should crack down because this is going to be quite a design. I will put in the top canvas as well right now, even though I am going to start on the face because that's just the most exciting. But might as well get the top in there, so we'll do it the same way. Grab this corner right here to scale it up to match our base, more or less. Look at that base. They really gave me a challenge with this one. All these little tiny roots, rocks, leaves, stuff that once again would probably be a little bit easier in Blender if I was a Blender Pro. Alas, I'm not. Okay, so we're making a face. Easy enough. I'm going to start adding and subtracting chunks from this Tippi Tree in order to build this face, and luckily the design was illustrated super well. You can even see dark areas here that indicate overhangs like the eyelids or the cheekbone here. I'm not sure how exact I'll get things, but I'm going to do my best. One thing is that I do need to make this printable without support material or anything. So every single overhang is going to have to be like maybe 50 or 40 degrees. I never know. When you talk about an overhang, obviously 45 is right in the middle, but once you get more and more shallow, would you consider that a larger or a smaller overhang? Is this a 60-degree overhang? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I think I'll go up to like 50. I could probably get an FDM printer to successfully pull off a 70-degree angle, but I also want to make it easy for everyone to print on their own printers. And that's always something you gotta consider when you're designing for 3D printing. Okay, while I talk, let's go ahead and start working on the mouth. I'm literally just gonna trace out some of these outlines first. Start pulling them in and out, and then I can add chamfers and sculpt it that way. Yeah, doing this in Fusion really is a tricky idea. But I think it'll work. Oh, you know what else I'm noticing? This whole design is completely symmetric. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start by drawing a line through the center. All I have to do is design one half of it because the other half is just a flipped version. So that's gonna save us some work as well and make everything look nice and symmetrical. Let's start with the lips here. I'm doing a spline since we've got this pretty curved organic shape. Goes right to the edge of the mouth there. We've got a point here, so I'll end that spline and then start a new spline from the same point. And that just allows us to have that sharp corner. I'll hit OK there, and now I've got all these handles that I can drag and adjust to match our sketch. Whenever you have a mirror like this, and you know you're going to flip it over, you need to make sure that this handle is horizontal, otherwise you'll end up with a point right at the middle. If we give this a horizontal constraint, then it's a smooth connection to the other half. Thanks for the super tip, Luke. The tippy tip, excuse me. I already forgot that. Yes, I know, I should just ignore chat for a minute and work on this. But hey, it's so cool to see people here and to interact with all the homies. All right, so let's go ahead and make this horizontal as well. Sometimes you have to drag the spline first until that line turns light blue, and then you can select it and apply that constraint. I know this is pretty technical stuff. If anyone actually wants to follow along, well, I guess this isn't really a tutorial to follow along, but hopefully if you are someone who works in Fusion 360, you might be able to gain a little trick here or there. Just be like, oh, I didn't consider breaking the spline up there to make a point or something. Honestly, I pretty much learn everything from messing around, and so I don't know how like the official Fusion 360 tutorials go about teaching certain things, whether some things are common knowledge or not. I just do things the way I've learned how to do them. So maybe there's something fun to learn. All right, now there are proper ways to do splines that I'm ignoring. Some people say you should only put a spline, they should only ever be horizontal or vertical, and they should only be at the very maximum points of the curve. I don't know. For me, splines are something you just have to get experience with to realize how many points you need to make it look smooth. Here, for example, it looks like it's kind of tricky for me to match this curve because it has a bit of a flat spot and then it curves down. If I want to get that accurate, I could add another point. In fact, I might add one here just to match this one so that I can kind of get the same quality of curve on the inside and outside point of the lip. So what I just did there was right click on the spline, and then you can use the insert spline point to add an extra point for more detail to your curve. Those are one of those sneaky tippy tips. So that's another version of tippy tip. The tips that I give you for designing in Fusion 360. Lots of great ideas coming out of this stream already. All right, I think that's pretty decent. I can go ahead and actually preview it before I go too far so that I can make adjustments. There are some, it looks very organic, but I guess that's kind of the point with a sculptural piece like this. All right, so now I can go ahead and mirror this since I'm gonna do just the mouth to start out. I don't wanna get too far before I realize what I'm doing. So you can go to create and mirror here. As you can see, there's my shortcut, Shift M. That's not a default shortcut, but you can add your own shortcuts by just going to this little menu and selecting change keyboard shortcut. Any function I find myself using often, I try to get a shortcut to that pretty quickly so that I can learn it. So here we have Shift M. With all of these selected, I hit Shift M and I select that line, center line, and hit OK. We've got lips. As you can see, the spline points get kind of distracting and crazy pretty quickly. So whether I do this whole face on one sketch or on several sketches, I'll probably do it on several just to make it less confusing. I might just work on one element at a time. And I'll tell you now, this is going to be a messy timeline. I'm definitely not doing the most efficient process. This is one of those things where I'm figuring it out as I go. Hence, there's going to be some interesting strategies, I'm sure. All right, so I hit E for extrude, and we're extruding from that face. I want it to pop out, maybe 2 millimeters. Let's try that out. Looks like a good distance for the lip. Like I said, this overhang will not fly, so one thing I can try is to put the taper in right now, say 45. No, let's say minus 45. That actually works in an interesting way. It gives us this pointy surface. That's kind of cool, actually. I didn't mean to do that, but I might stick with it. Although it looks a little too weak for the lips. Let's do it really quickly and see how that looks. Hide the canvas. We can also go here to the display settings. You can switch between all these different styles. We might want to hide the edges like that. Control 4 is another way. Then you get a really good idea of what it looks like. Because in real life, when you print something, it's not outlined, right? You have to rely on the shadows and highlights that are cast. That looks pretty cool. What do you guys think? Should I have the lips be a little beefier, or? This strategy is actually really fun, just to have the drawing and then do a tapered extrude. That's a good way of getting no extreme overhangs. It does look like a game controller, doesn't it? Like I said, I could do a slightly more aggressive taper. So let's see what happens if I do minus 40. As you can see, it starts popping out a bit more. Like that. That's pretty cool. Let's see. And it's interesting. It's cool how it's actually blending into this chamfer here. I was wondering if I would have to get rid of these chamfers while modeling, but it actually turned into a almost perfectly tangent surface. It isn't quite, but I think that'll look fine. I obsess over the little tiny details, and it's funny because once you print it out, it becomes a lot less obvious. It is pretty pointy, right? It would be nice to have maybe a fillet on the end here, even though it is a weird surface because it's not a uniform thickness, so there are some areas that don't come to a point. Let's see what happens if I try to throw a fillet on there. Hey, not bad. Fusion 360, in my world, is a lot of just like, let's see what happens. Yeah, so here there's a weird thing going on where it splits. We can try that. Try selecting the split and see if it allows us to do the fillet, but I have a feeling it won't. Not the friendliest thing. You can try lowering the value to something tiny like 0.1 to see if that works. If that doesn't work, well, we might be hopeless. Yeah, usually when a fillet comes to a point like that, it's tricky. Let's see what happens if I just keep selecting more and more edges. Sometimes if you select all of them, it'll let you do the fillet again. Doesn't look like it. Another thing I can do is just extrude cut on the top. Although then it'll get really, there's some areas here where it's already so thin that it doesn't pop out very far. think it's okay, but I kind of want to make it a little bit more significant. I might depart from the sketch already and make some areas thicker and a little more uniform and smooth. I guess Jen is not in the chat, or I might have seen that already. It would be cool if the original designer was in the chat so I could get second opinions. But yeah, let's make the lips a little bit thicker. In fact, the teeth are going to be coming out of the tree a bit too, I think. Well, no. This inner part of the mouth, I'll cut that into the tree. This is going to be fun, actually. And this is one reason I love Fusion. I can just make these little changes and then go back out and it'll apply all the other things we did after the fact, if I'm lucky. So some things are much easier than Blender, as much as Blender is typically better suited for sculpture and stuff. Another thing I'll have to decide is what goes on with the sides here. Do I just repeat the tiki face all around, or do I give it ears? I don't think tikis have ears. I'll probably keep it pretty simple on the sides. Or repeat the pattern all around. You guys think it would look weird if the face was on all four sides? That is how the original Tippi Tree was done. Hey, fake make anything in the chat. I will not allow that. I appreciate your weird form of dedication. But at the same time, I don't want anyone representing me. I could always I gotta be ready for the chat pranksters, huh? Okay, you know what? This sketch isn't too crowded yet. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some other elements within the same thing. I'm gonna get the teeth going. I'm not saying that I'm 100% certain on the lips yet, but working on the rest of the stuff around it might help us get a better idea. Once again, I'm going to take this spline that meets the mirrored point and make that horizontal so it's a smooth mirror. I cannot stress this enough. Only because it's the only actual tip I've given so far in this stream that I think could be useful to people. All right. There we go. Look at that. Look how nice and smooth that curve is. And that's because the spline literally only has a control point at the beginning and end. Generally, with splines, you want to have as few points as possible to make your life easier. All right, there's the mirror. And do we want to add the teeth lines? Let's see. I'm going to cut the teeth. Yeah, I'm going to cut the teeth. No. Let's try this. So we can go back to the old sketches here and reselect a sketch. By the way, unfortunately, you can't yet label things on the timeline. I wish I could select this and have a little call out or some kind of special emoji or icon just so I'm like, oh, that's where the mouth design is. But here in the drop down, I can rename this sketch. And I think I just double click, yeah, and I can say mouth. Maybe it'll be the whole face, but for now I'll call it mouth. That way when I use this drop down, I can more easily find that. All these other sketches are from the original Tippi Tree, which I'm probably not going to need for the rest of this build. So here we go. Let's do a -3, but in reality I'm just going to taper it all the way. And if I do the same taper angle as the mouth, which was 40, correct? I have to do -40. Oh no, it didn't work. Let's see what happens. Ah, yeah. Sometimes when the smallest gap meets, if you go any further than that, you'll break the extrude cut. There's ways around this, but let's just see what's going on first. What I was saying is since we have the same 40 degrees as this is coming out at 40 and this is going in at 40, that means it creates an actual just single smooth surface here. Even though it's still showing a line, I don't know why. Anyways, see that? That already makes a pretty good difference. question, I don't know if I want to round this. I mean, it'll be rounded automatically by the physical limitations of a 3D printer, but I probably should not be relying on that. Who knows? Lines. James, would it be easier to do all of this in Illustrator? In some ways, yes, it would be easier. The spline tools and just general vector line tools are easier in Illustrator. For one thing, Illustrator is on my MacBook, so I can't stream it. So I'm partially doing it just because I wouldn't be able to stream it. But on top of that, just working within Fusion gives you a little more power with... I mean, the lines are made in Fusion, so sometimes if you bring a DXF file in from Illustrator, a line will look like a circle, but it's actually just a curve with a dot. Like, it won't let you actually import a true circle, and that breaks some of the functions within Fusion. Uh-oh, stream slowed down. What's new? That means I can actually work for a moment. I don't know, I like the points. I like the points a little bit. There's another way to approach this, which I guess I should try sooner than later, and that is to not have the angle here. Just have it go straight out. Big beefy mouth, right? That even looks okay already, but I don't want that overhang on the bottom. But now I can just do a chamfer on the bottom surfaces that need it, and I can drag that out until it's right there. Technically, there's a little overhang. Unless I find the exact value, I can just keep zooming in. I do this sometimes, like, oh, 0.61 doesn't work, but how about 0.601, 0.602 doesn't work, so 0.015. Just keep breaking down those decimals to get as close to a point as I can. This is also a little bit not the best practice, because if you try to fill it or chamfer that edge, Fusion's going to be very confused since it's not an actual edge. It's technically it's like a very small face right there, but when you print it, that's an edge, right? And you know what? I think I'm going to go with this. I think the lips need to be big like this. Like, these are big lips. Won't let me do the same one there, but let's apply this one first. And you know what? That actually kind of matches the sketch even. Because look at the sketch. There's kind of two parts to the lip. So now just by doing that huge chamfer, I'm already... Look how perfectly that almost matches the bottom line that Jen drew in there. Yeah. I like this blocky look too. I'm not just doing it because it's easier in Fusion to do it blocky. But I think for a tiki, for something that would traditionally be carved out of wood, it actually works quite well. Now, of course, the chamfer here is a bit of an issue. Nah, not really. I might just go here and round these. What? Okay. If it didn't let me do that, then I'd be confused. Ooh. This is where you all see that I'm really just messing around and hoping things work out. And oftentimes that works. I mean, the lips get really thin here. That's a problem. I do need to make sure that any thin portion in the z-axis is kind of, well, there we go. It's 1.12. So I'm often measuring things to make sure it's not thinner than 0.8, because then the slicer will have trouble with a little 0.4 millimeter nozzle pulling that off. But another thing I want to do here is actually have the lips go over the edge a bit. So I'm going to make sure to select this bit that was not included. And that just means I have to do a 2-direction extrude to get rid of this gap in the back. So let's go back a millimeter. Hit OK. And now you can see that blends into the chamfer. Very nice. A little weird, but I think it's better. And now it broke my other stuff that I did afterwards. Welcome to Fusion. Thanks for the super chats, Tippy Tips. Thanks for the super chats, Tippy Tips. Taryn, thanks for another one. And Carl, don't challenge the cheese god. My message is yellow, like cheese. Is this something that came from another stream? I don't remember where this inside joke started. I know people were talking about cheese last stream, but I don't know if it's because of something I ever said or someone just decided that cheese is a big deal. Which I don't disagree. Cheese makes the world go round. All right, so let's go back and edit this chamfer and see if we can still make it work. Things got weird here because of this joinery. There's a few different ways to deal with things here. You know what? Of course it's not going to work, because if this tapered out any further, it would be going off the edge of the tree. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back again. This time I'm going to taper outwards. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the profile offset. Right now I'm extruding out from the tree. Now I'm going to extrude in towards the tree. And you'll see why that helps in a second. So we're going to offset 2 millimeters and then extrude in the opposite direction. Then we can do the 40. What? You're not going to let me do that? Okay. I'm going to select the entire mouth here, like that. Looks crazy, right? But I think it'll work. Hear me out here. I'm going to make a new body so that I can edit it without interacting with the rest of the face yet. So there, I did that. Now I'm going to select the same sketch. By the way, this sketch is now behind the body, so if you just try to click, you're going to select the face. But if you want to select that sketch, you can click and hold until this menu drops down. And then you can indicate, oh, I want to select this sketch from the profile. And then I can hold down Control to select other bits from that sketch. Now I'm going to cut out from there. I'll actually do a both direction cut. Cut through that entire mouth body. And I'm going to deselect the tree here. I don't want to cut the tree. I just want to cut the mouth bit. In fact, I can click the tree and hit V to hide it. And then we just got our lips. Those are some good looking lips. But I do want to see the tree right now. I've also got all these other bodies from when I was designing the Tippi Tree, you know, all the different branches on top. I could delete those or remove them, but we're just going to ignore it for now. Other thing, save often. I'm going to save right now. I definitely have days where I work on a big project and I only remember to save 3 hours into the project when something is about to crash, and that's always terrifying. Okay, so what are we going to do here now? We definitely want to round this out, or I'm going to do a chamfer. I think we're going to stick with a pretty chamfered look. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, we're going to stay pretty chamfered just because I think it matches the tiki feel. And look at that. We've still got a nice overhang here, so this will print. And I think that just looks pretty good. Maybe a little less. Now this is leaking over to the other side of the face, so that might become a problem if we do want to have it symmetrical all the way around. Let's just do it right now to see what would happen if I just go to Pattern, select the mouth, and do another 4-way pattern. They kind of just overlap right into each other, which doesn't look so bad. Kind of works. I mean, yeah, this face is going to have features popping out, so having the face on all the sides might look a little weirder than it did on the original tree. Because you'll see a little nose here on this side and on this side. I think I'm probably just going to do the face on one side. Strat magic, how would I resize the model? Are you talking about resizing Tippi Tree to make it bigger and smaller without affecting the clearances? Because all the spacing is designed specifically for this size. But if you're just talking about changing the size of things in Fusion, there's a scale tool. And you can always hit S to bring up this little shortcut box and then just search for whatever function you're trying to do. So I'm going to search scale. There's a scale. Now we can select the body. We can scale it from the origin and change that to 2. And then boom, it's twice as big. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, but that's how you scale something. Flame games. No, this design will not cost you extra on My Mini Factory. It's going to be part of the original Tippi Tree download. So if you've already bought Tippi Tree, you can download it anytime again on My Mini Factory. And once I update the file with these special skins, you can download it again and print your extra special Tippi Trees. All right, I'm pretty happy with the lips now on the outside. There is this bit here. This angle is more extreme than the 40. But since it's such a small little thing, I'm pretty sure it'll print out just fine. Of course, once this is all modeled out, I am going to have to do a test print and make sure it works, and maybe I'll change some things. Anyways, I'm going to do a chamfer on the inside lip here too, just to add a bit more detail. That looks pretty good. I might want to make it a little smaller just to keep the thickness of the lips. Get down with the thickness. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Let's see what would happen if I did another chamfer on this edge. If that would help the overhang maybe. Because I could do that. Whoop. It's definitely a little finicky. That's a weird edge. I don't think that's helping. I might do a fillet here actually. I know I said I was going to limit the curves, but oh, that's weird. It's a very interesting way for it to fillet, but I do think that would make it easier to print actually. Yeah, most of the cool things I do today are going to be accidents, or discoveries I should call them. Although I don't know if I like this one. We could round that point off a bit. Once again, it's such a tiny detail that I'm spending so much time on. I can't help it. When it's printed out, it's literally going to be like a millimeter. You might not ever see it. But that's just me. And who knows? Maybe someone wants to scale this up. Once they have those printers printing houses, no problem. Oh my gosh, imagine a Tippi Tree the size of an actual tree. That's something that's so cool about STL files, is that they're infinitely scalable. Theoretically, you could take this into a slicer and scale it up to 10,000 feet tall. And if you had the right printer, you could do it. All right. Do I want to keep that sharp point? I kind of like the sharp point. It gives the mouth that more aggressive downward turn. Taryn, if you raised $200 in Tippi Tips, would I eat cheese? I'd be silly to say no to that, right? I will definitely bring a slice of cheese on stream and eat it. If I get $200 in Tippi Tips before the end of this stream. I suppose. I'm not that desperate, but hey, can't turn down a good deal. Yeah, I kind of like this point. So another way to test out how well something would print out is to select a surface like this from the top and just do a section analysis. And now when you drag up through the section, you're basically seeing layers the same way that a printer would be printing from the bottom up. So, of course I haven't merged these yet, so ignore the overlapping bits. Edward, yes, this is the winner, the Tippi Tree. one of the winners. The other winner is the leaky hydrant, which I'll be doing it'll be the next thing I model live here on the channel, most likely. I'm really excited for that one as well. Although this one was first place winner, so I decided to go with it. But yeah, so now we can see right where that bottom part starts, and you can see what the first layers would look like. So that is quite an aggressive little jump out, but because it's so small, I suspect it would print okay. It would kind of maybe droop a tiny bit, but it's such a small little jump out that it would probably look just fine. Yeah, because I don't really want, well, okay, there's one other thing I could do. Let's see. I could just make this a little more shallow. Shallow or steep, I don't know. I don't know how to say things. There. No, that's the opposite. That'll be easier to print, this right here. Let's see what happens if I do that 50-degree taper and then adjust this outside chamfer a bit. Really? It's not even letting me do it? That's kind of weird. Oh, I guess down here it got funky. Look at that. Look how weird that gets. That's just because we confused Fusion by going out too far, but we don't have to go out that far. We can go out just this far. For example, minus 3.6. Oh, see how I'm breaking everything? Isn't that fun? There we go. Just have to do a smaller chamfer. Let's see if we can, no, that made it worse. Because I do need to chamfer this all the way so it's not overlapping the edge. And that makes this, yeah, I don't think it's as nice. I don't know why okay, there we go. Cut through the tree on accident. Oh well. I liked it better before. Maybe if we go even steeper, 35. It's still hardly steep for a 3D printer. And then we have to mess with the chamfer again. What's going on? I think Fusion's glitching a little bit. There we go. I mean, maybe I should just be okay with it overlapping to the side of the face. Have that be part of it. Oh, never mind. This is good. If I just bring it so this line lines up with the corner of the chamfer, it'll be exactly what I'm going for. See, if I go further, then you got that overcut. That we do not want to print because it would try to float in midair first. But if we do it just so it lines up right there, boom. So once again, I'm going to do my strategy of zooming in as much as possible and averaging it out. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it's still a little bit behind meeting up. So I'm just going to change that 6.722. I'm going to add 6.722.1. Oh, that's going in the opposite direction. So maybe the 2 turns into a 1 or a 3. Okay. 2.5, 2.4. There we go. That looks perfect. Let's do 2.4 to it. Wow, I'm developing a speech impediment as we speak. There we go. I think I did all right there. That looks perfect. I like it. I like it. It's good mouth. Maybe I want to do another chamfer here just to see what it'll do. Kind of square off the lips a bit so that the outside line here kind of matches the inside chamfer of the line. I kind of like that. Although it gets kind of weird here, then I don't want to do that because then we've got the overhangs again. So we're going to leave that. Wow, the chat is 100% cheese right now. I'm just glad you guys can all come together to stand behind something no matter what it is. Yeah, I am going to make this line basically visually match this inner line. So that looks perfect. Just from the straight on view. I want the front view to be great. So the only part that's a little weird is how this chamfer ends up. Maybe I can do a fillet like I was doing earlier. Kind of wonky. That doesn't do anything. That would technically make it print a little bit easier as well, I think. You can actually get really steep if it's an underhang with a fillet. Like, there's always like people say, oh, you shouldn't go above 45 degrees, but it really depends on the geometry. If it's a thin corner of a triangle going outwards, it can sometimes get way steeper. If it's just like a big flat angled ramp, then yeah, you're going to be more limited by the angles. Oh, you cheeseheads. Y'all are crazy. This looks kind of nice if I fillet both of these. It's getting rid of that aggressive point that I was talking about earlier, but maybe there is a middle ground. Oh, I just realized I'm drawing this on the back instead of the front. Literally doesn't matter, but that's going to annoy me. You can always hit Control to like preview it with and without. I think with the curve, it definitely matches the rest of the mouth a bit more. It is departing a tiny bit from the original artwork, but I don't think I'll get complaints. Maybe just one. Isn't it crazy how I've been obsessing over this little tiny thing for like 30 minutes already? There we go. Now, I think we're gonna move on. I think it's time to move on. Please make the mirror line a construction line. Yeah, I guess that is easier, huh? It's a fair point. I'm trying to think if there's any reason not to do that, but not really. Basically, by making a construction point, it see here it splits it up into two profiles, but if it's a construction, it is ignored for these things, and that is the whole reason to use a construction line. So you know what? Thank you for that piece of advice. Yeah, the curve matches, but it's further from the original, Edward. I agree with you there. But yeah, I'm not trying to be... I'm not worried about being like so close to the original. It's definitely going to be close enough. Okay. Gotta turn off that analysis. Turn off the canvas. Let's start doing the teeth. Does that still work? Kind of, yeah. I think I'm going to try something a little different here. Once again, I'm not going to do the taper angle, because really this is tapering more than we need to. This surface doesn't need to be tapered. Only the top overhang needs to be tapered. And honestly, because this has a curve, it could also print just fine. But let's see if I can just do a chamfer on just this back edge. looks like we can do that. Oh. Will it? Okay, yes, we need to make this a little bit steeper. And then we can have this come all the way out to the edge. Bop. Once again, I'm using this trick a lot. This terrible trick of not actually having it come to the edge, but just getting as close as possible. Although, that's the good thing. If you use even numbers, then you can just do an even number, and then it actually does become a single edge. See, now we can fillet it. Although we don't want that. We're getting these nice sharp teeth. There we go. Looking pretty good. Let's carve those teeth lines in. So I'm gonna go back. Am I gonna go back into the original sketch? Yes. Yes. Now remember, this mouth is still a separate body, which can be handy. Another tip is if you do want parts to be separate bodies and not accidentally merge them, go ahead and hit A to bring up the appearance panel and make them different colors. That way, if you accidentally merge it, it'll suddenly be one color and you'll be like, wait a minute, something happened. Wow, the cheese spam is real. String cheese as filament. I do have a printer that I designed a long time ago that's just a big syringe. It's going to be a clay printer. A lot of people have done that by now, but actually someone's done a Cheese Whiz printer too. I remember that from way back in the day. It was so gross. Now, look at this. We can take the leaves off, the lips, not the leaves. And I think I'm going to carve the teeth into here as a new sketch. And then I'll combine the lips to basically make it all work. So let's turn our sketch back on. I love how the teeth are coming in from angles. It's unlike any real teeth, but it just works with the look of this Tippi Tree. And the reason I'm glad that the lips are separate is that now I can actually cut beyond the lips. I can basically create a line in the center here. Oh, this is a spline. Well, yeah, let's create a spline from here to here. No, from here to here to here. What am I doing? Oh, yes. And then I'm going to create another spline here. I'm kind of just doing a midline, which I think I'm better off just doing and then explaining afterwards. So I'm basically doing this line, which is going to be at the thickest part of the lips, so that I can do the cut going a bit beyond. You'll see, you'll see. All right, so let's see if I want these to be straight lines. I think so. They could have a little bit of a curve in them to be a little more organic. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's make this look carved. If you were to carve this into wood, none of the lines would be perfect. So I'm just gonna do splines and give it the slightest curve, if it lets me. And then I can hit O to offset that line. And let's see. I think minus 0.4 is a good gap for the teeth. Now, as you can see, the offset doesn't meet up with this line, so I can use the extend tool right here. My shortcut is Shift E. Make sure that extends all the way to both of these lines so that it becomes a solid profile, like that. Let's start out with one tooth first, just as proof of concept. So I'm going to extrude that to this surface here, so it goes just as deep as the... Oh, wait. No, we don't want to go that far. We can only go that far before it starts doing weird stuff, unless I forgot that I did the chamfer only on the top and not on the bottom. So I'm going to go into this sketch, and this middle line I did, I'm going to bring it down, 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 down to kind of line up with that point. In fact, actually, just kidding. Delete that line. I'm actually going to project this line because that's exactly the best line for it to end up at. Because then I can extrude all the way down to that face. Uh-oh, what happened? Accidentally. Oh, it got weird. That's blind. Is no bueno. There we go. All because I want a little imperceptible curve. This is what happens. Life of an artist, eh? All right, once again, we'll make sure it's extended. All right, cheese people, you gotta calm down. I know that I accepted the cheese goal, but you're scaring people away now. So there, I can do a cut up to that surface. And then when I add the lips on top, it'll work out. I think that'll look good. So yeah, let's do it. There's one. There's two. Let's see if we can get more than a mouth done today, huh? I will make this a construction line again. Or, do I have multiple lines here? Yes. Oh, I'm gonna need a line for the bottom lip here as well. The extent. There we go. Sorry for those of you who it's 1 a.m. right now. Unfortunately, my current sleep pattern forces me to do streams at this time, but I know there's people at all sorts of times. And I figure my audience is mostly in the US, although definitely not limited to the US. But I try to stream at a time that works best for most of my viewers. And I'm sorry for those awesome people who are tuning in from, I guess, more unique, for lack of a better word, countries. Rare. You're calling in from a rare country. No. I don't know what the word is. Anyways, okay, I did all of those lines on one side. Now I'm going to select all of these and mirror them over, including these limit lines on the top and bottom lip. Shift M, select that line, copy it over. Wow. And it immediately becomes super complex. So, oh, I forgot to name this. Teeth. I'll also save again. Always a good idea. Save early and often. Let's go back into this extrude, and now we can select the remaining edges. Whoops. Once again, you can press and hold to specify which section you're trying to click on when there's a lot of overlapping happening, like there is here. That was one of the... Oh no, I forgot a line here. We'll get back to that one. we go. Oh, in here, the middle line. We don't want him to have a single big middle tooth, right? I feel like our tiki should have a name. Anyone have a good name for a tiki? I know he is the Tiki Tree. But is it like Carl the Tiki Tree? Carl doesn't seem like a good name, but you know. All right, whoops. No, I gotta mirror that one remaining line. So I'm actually seeing it isn't perfectly symmetrical, which makes me wonder, oh, never mind. I think that's just how I lined my sketch up. I'm trying to determine whether the original drawing, oh no, it was just drawn really well. So she didn't actually mirror this in Photoshop or anything. It was just a very well done symmetrical drawing. All right. Can you believe it? We're almost there with the mouth. Carl, thank you for the super chat. I realized I forgot my water bottle, so I'm gonna have to take a break in a little bit. Stay hydrated for longevity. Okay, I think we can merge our mouth to the rest of the Tippi Tree soon. Look at that. So there's some interesting overhangs happening here, but I don't think it's a problem. I do think maybe I want this to taper. If it'll let me do that, just like a very shallow taper. Like -5, what happens if I try to do that? Oh, interesting. It does create an interesting taper here, but it kind of stops it from going up to that surface, which I could fix, but it would be quite a bit of work. And I'm not really, I think this is okay. So we're gonna do that, and now we're gonna add the smaller chamfers to just kind of get rid of the really pointy bits here. Like that. I think that kind of looks cool, rounding out the teeth just a little bit. Not really rounding, squaring them off is a better word for it, but There's a general rule that if you're doing like chamfers on top of chamfers or doing fillets and stuff, you usually want to start with the largest ones first, and then you work down to these tiny little ones you're adding. Kind of like it. I might put chamfers on these edges as well. Once again, just to have more areas that can catch shadows and highlights. So, I think that is a pretty good point I'm bringing up there with 3D printing. Generally, with this type of printing, you're printing in one color. So all of the image is determined by the lighting and shadow and how that's cast. So every time I add another chamfer here, it's a different surface that catches light, and you might have a little highlight right there. And these are the things that actually make renders look really good as well. I had a few people ask me how I get such nice looking renders in Fusion 360. And the trick is to just get very detailed with how you model things. There's no such product in the real world that has a perfect point. Everything has a slight fillet or a slight chamfer. And that stuff affects how highlights and shadows work. Tiki Terry. Oh, I'm getting names now. Cool. Tiki Timmy, Tiki Terry, Tiki Tom. Okay, so I think at least we're getting a near consensus that his name does have to start with a T to go along with the alliteration of Tiki Tree. Tiki Tree Terry. Although I don't know. Is that cultural appropriation? I feel like he needs a Hawaiian or Polynesian name. Well, you know what? I'll be honest. I don't know the entire history of tikis. I want to say it's Hawaiian, right? Maybe I should have known. I should have done a little history lesson on the history of tikis before I go modeling them. I hope I don't go and do some kind of silly mistake. Get called out by an expert like, oh, wow, really? You gave your tiki a point on the bottom lip? Didn't you know that's extremely offensive? Let's hope that doesn't happen. All right, looks like I tried to do too many chamfers at once here. Starting over. I'm gonna just start with the really pointy one here. The thing I don't like about chamfers, oh well, that's because okay. Two distances. 0.5, 0.5. No, it's still different. See, a chamfer, like, even if you do the same values, but if it's a different pointiness, if each edge has a different pointiness, then the chamfers come out different sizes. It kind of bothers me about chamfers. Okay. This is what happens when I'm talking too much. I end up doing things over and over again. That looks pretty good. I feel like these are a little bit too large and these are a little too small. So I'm going to do them as separate values. That's the solution. This super steep one is going to be 0.5, 0.5. Then I'm going to add a new set for these ones and make those 0.4, 0.4. Smaller chamfer, but now if you look at the actual surface that it creates, it looks more similar. More consistent. And then for the final ones here, I can probably do 0.3, 0.3. Sure enough. Oh yeah, that looks good. Super striking. We're getting a lot of shadow there, speaking of which. By creating these really thin, deep cuts, getting those dark bits that signify the inside of a mouth and between the teeth. Maybe I even could go deeper with this right here, but I think we're okay. This is just a Tippi Tree skin after all. Oh, the square tiki. Is that the sacrilege right there, making it square? Bad. No, it has to match the Tippi Tree form. If I change too much, then it won't play the same. Because, you know, sometimes you've got a leaf hanging off the edge here. Anyways. There we go. Now I can merge these. As much as I like having the lips be darker, we are designing this for a single color, so I am going to merge it all together. And there we go. Looks good. In fact, let's do a quick, super quick render, just because the render space is always so satisfying, but it also gives you a better idea of how it'll look when you get a little more realistic and dramatic lighting. Let's go into the scene settings and make sure to turn off, oh, there is no depth of field. Maybe we just want to do a quick render. We can switch it to fast view. This is way more shiny than our 3D printing plastic will be. So let's go to our material and make it rough and less reflective. There we go. It's a pretty good looking mouth. I think we've pulled it off. That first bit of the tiki. All right, Team Cheese, how's it going? You're doing good work. Taryn and Carl are really working hard to get the cheese action going. Where can I see how much I've made? I gotta know how to tell. Oh no, we have not met our cheese goal. I'm sorry. Right now we're at 54 revenue. This is the life of YouTube streaming. You set the goal. You said 200, not me. And I think think you're I don't know if you're gaining or losing support with the cheese spam. All right, cool render. Let's see what's next. Does anyone know what this chin piece is here? Is this supposed to, is this representing? It reminds me of like something a King Tut would have. I'm not sure if it's a tiki element as well. It's kind of chin piece. Got those lines similar to what I've seen with Egyptian face masks and such. By the way, you'll notice there's some really small like wood grain details here. I think I will definitely model in like these lines and stuff. That'll be cool. This texture I may just ignore because it's so small that it would kind of just mess with 3D printers, or maybe I will take this into Blender after I've done most of the work here in Fusion. And then I can use the sculpt tools to draw in little things like that. Because that would just be so time consuming here in Fusion. I do not regret using Fusion though, because I think the lips look great. Yeah, you know, a King Tut tree is something that no one did. I don't think there were any Egyptian entries into the design competition, which is a little surprising now that I think about it. Anyways, we've got our lips. I think we gotta do the nose next, and I'll do that as a separate body once again. Before I combine that, I'll cut away this kind of mustache brow thing. Yeah, I love this drawing. There's some really cool stuff going on. Let's do the nose. The nose is such a significant part that I think we should start getting to it. Of course, the eyes, people will say, are the most significant. So I'm going to do center line once again. And I can see here that the nose isn't perfectly centered, but we'll make it work. And this is just shading, so I actually don't need to trace that, I don't think. I'll start by getting this major outline. I think I will get the slight curve in this part, so we'll do one spline right here. From here, maybe all the way up. Gosh, see, this all looks like one piece. There's some interesting facets going on here. I think we are going to go all the way here. I'm basically going to extrude this front view, and then I'm going to cut away from the side to get the angle of the nose. And we'll see how that works. I might have to do the nostrils separately or something like that. But yeah, let's just keep working. Just keep trying stuff. That's the best way to get a good result. Taryn, thank you, thank you. I appreciate the determination. Super chats for cheese. You should start a charity, maybe. Super chats for cheese. It's like Toys for Tots, but not. But not at all. All right. Oh, another thing about the spline, you might notice these green curves coming off. And by aligning these curves, it'll help you create like really smooth splines. See, I can just kind of adjust this until those two almost come together like that. Boom. And that basically makes the smoothest curve possible. Let's do it. Let's stick with that smooth curve. Now we'll select this line. We can select the whole thing by double clicking. Shift M and mirror it. Ah, Carl, thank you so much. I appreciate the chats for cheese. I appreciate the super chats for cheese. I can't pretend to understand it fully, but I appreciate it. Okay, so there we've got our nose profile. Let's extrude that out. Boom. As a new body, so that we can work on it independently. And how far are we going to want this thing to go out? That's going to be up to me because the design competition didn't ask for a side view. But I do want to make sure that I can get that overhang here on the bottom part of the nose. Like the tip is probably going to be up here somewhere. Means the nose can only come out so far. Let's start with 8. I think that's even too much. Let's do 6. I know noses would come out more than that, but for a skin like this and to make it easily printable, we're gonna be a little conservative on the nose. All right. Once again, I'll make this a separate color just so we know it's separate. Now I'll select the side plane and I can figure out the nose. So I need to decide where the point is going to be. It kind of looks like from the front, it looks like a downturned nose, which wouldn't have much of an angle here, but I need that for it to print. I mean, I can have it chamfer lower, but I feel like that would make it, I don't think that would look right. Actually, before we, let's see if I can just chamfer this and get a quick idea of what this would look like. If I just chamfered that all the way, that would look silly. Kind of. I mean, it's not the worst. Oh, I feel like these should maybe, maybe we want to point like that. Although that's definitely too much. We would only want it like that much. Yeah, now that I think about it, the nostrils would probably be lower than the center part of the nose. That's usually how a nose is. Whether I want to try to capture that and make them 2 separate extrusions, I'm not sure. I mean, we can get away with a pretty shallow thing here, but not too much. Like, what would a 30-degree overhang look like? Or 60. Still kind of funky. Yeah, it kind of works, but I'm not crazy about it. Noah, you're asking what entry-level printer for 200 or less would I recommend? 200 is pretty cheap for a printer. I might go a little bit higher into the 300 range, or, I mean, I guess the Ender 3 V2 seems to be the recommendation right now for a very cheap one. I haven't tried the V2 myself, though, so just telling you what I've heard. Okay, I need to decide what's going to happen here. I wonder what else I could do. We are going to have this kind of piece on the, whatever they're called, the wrinkles here. Those might be sticking out, right? Like this bit could be sticking out, which would mean I don't have to do as much of a chamfer because I could try to get some kind of bridging action going on with the nose. Maybe. I kind of want this part of the mouth to be rounded, actually. The top part. That would be really cool. Maybe I need to do that first. Let's do a new sketch. I'm gonna leave the nose here for now. Ooh, I have another idea. What if instead of doing the chamfer, we literally took this whole body and angled it to be like a nose? Let's try this here. I literally just go womp. That could work. That could make a good nose. Look at that. It's almost there already. Now I think it's going to go up to here, and then this part is going to come out again, because this is kind of this part of the head. I think Jen, I don't know if Jen or Bill were the one who actually drew this, but I think they have some kind of involvement with the illustration industry. I don't know if they work with Disney or just like some other illustration related field, but that's what I got to do. Nice. Figured it out. Okay. So I am gonna cut this off right here. Yeah. Let's see how this works. I do think it'll change the front view a little bit. It won't line up as perfectly with the original drawing, but we're trying to capture the essence here. I just want to make this line meet the front face pretty much perfectly, which I will actually do precisely this time instead of just guessing it, because I think I might regret it if I don't do it precisely. So that's almost there. Let's look at it from the front and see how it still lines up. Pretty good. Pretty good. That is totally acceptable. Let's hit OK. This angle is still pretty shallow. I don't know if that's too tough to print still. What I could do is select this face, use the draft feature. You want to draft this face. Go, wow. Look at that. Bring that to like a near point here with the draft. There we go. We're doing it. 10 degrees. There we go. That gives us a... It's still a little bit sad for a nose. Doesn't have the grandeur that it could. Actually, here's what I'll do. I'll make it a little more complex. I'll pull this out. Let's pull it out way more than it needs to be. Wait, what am I doing? No, just kidding. What happens if I use the press pull feature? See, press pull is interesting. A lot of the time it just extrudes, but sometimes it's better at conserving things like this angle here, even though it's pulling it away from that. I mean, it's not so bad right now. I'm pretty fine with it. I'm just thinking of, instead of it just being a straight line, having it be a little more of a up and then in. Kind of like bomb, bomb, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? I think I have to do the draft afterwards then. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. I'm going to go out an extra 10. Make it a new body so it doesn't merge everything together. From the side view, we're going to project this point and this point, because those we still want it to end in the same place, but now we can add an extra oomph to the nose. A little something, just like that. I don't know if it'll be worth it or if it'll actually look better, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this away. Metric. Looks more Peruvian. Maybe that's just my own bias. But I kind of like it. Like we can do that, and then with the nostril here, we can kind of do a chamfer right there to get that separation there. If I chamfer these two, I think it'll look good. Oh yeah, and then I'll probably do a smaller one up there. And here. Do we want to chamfer these? Probably. Let's see. Can I chamfer that? I can. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that. That's a pretty cool shape. Yeah. Maybe one more chamfer right here. A little one. Save. Thank you, Maker Owen. Good call, good call. I think the nose got smaller though by doing all those chamfers and cutting away. Oh no, still matches our drawing really well. That's pretty good, right? From the front, I think it looks good. Totally. From the side, maybe a little weird, but not super weird. Now I'm thinking though, do I actually want the brow to come out, or do I want to be carving all of this into the tree a little more? The shape here is kind of confusing. I might have to do this stuff with surfaces to get more complex shapes for this part. Wouldn't be a bad idea to do some 3D sketching. But at the same time, this is working quite well. All right, I'm gonna leave the nose for now as its own piece. This part, it looks like we're gonna cut away everything in here. Cut away here and here, and leave this. This is gonna be interesting. All right. How am I doing this? This part is like cut away almost entirely, like out of the side. I kind of want to do that. That'd be interesting. In which case, maybe I shouldn't have joined the mouth yet. Can we undo that? Let's see what happens if we delete it. Did it get rid of anything? I don't think so. Whoa. Okay. I'm leaving it as separate bodies for now. What's here? Oh, whoops, I forgot I undid the draft and then redid the draft and... Oi, oi, oi! How does the nose look now? More rounded-ish. Yeah, this triangular bit isn't perfect, but it is going to make it a lot easier to print. I think I'm going to accept it for that reason. Probably going to give this guy nostrils too, even though it's not in the drawing, but that's the kind of stuff we do at the end. For now, let's see if we can cut out this kind of cheek area. Just, we'll start from outside. Go bam, Bam. Down to right about here. Maybe out like that. Let's see what happens. I create a mirror line straight down. Select all of this. Mirror it. And then we'll cut away both of these cheeks. Only from the tree. Oh yeah, he's getting chiseled. Now, another thing we can do there is give it a bit of a taper. That's a lot of a taper, but that's way too much of a taper. That looks kind of cool, where it kind of, oh yeah, that's pretty awesome. That looks pretty similar to what Jen had going on in her drawing, right? And that overhang can totally print. I like it. Do a quick render view. In fact, I'm gonna give you guys a second to watch it rendering while I grab my water so that we can keep going. We're an hour and a half in, so it's about time for one of those little quick intermissions. And why not have something render in the meantime? Although we need to change the lighting here. Let's rotate the environment. You always want like the main surface, aka the face here, to be what's lit up. And then a good second value on the side to get good shading. This looks pretty good. Oh my gosh, I'm doing totally useless stuff, but let's give him a nice tropical background. All right, I'll be right back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. How was it? How was the break? I got my water. I'm good. I'm thriving. What do you think? It looks pretty good so far, right? I might have to paint it with this dual colors once it's all printed out. It would look really cool painted. Yeah, I really like how that cheek detail looks, so I'm just gonna leave it exactly like that. Yoo-hoo! We're making progress, folks. Caleb Prince, did I pay for Gravity Sketch? I actually joined their beta program way long ago when they first started. And I know they announced recently that it's free now, so you shouldn't have to pay for it. Do I play VR games? Rarely. I wish I played more. Last game I played in VR heavily was Beat Saber, of course. It's a classic. Taryn, you know what? I didn't grab cheese because we're not at the cheese goal. I thought about it. I was like, hey, they did give me a lot of cheesy chats, but they didn't reach their goal. But you know, before the stream's over, maybe I'll have some cheese. Maybe not my finest cheese, unless we hit that goal, but I'll have some household cheese. Okay. Let's see what to do next. All right, let's cut this bit out. Gosh, it's gonna get more complex for sure. Rubly, you're asking what my educational background is. Do I have a job where I have to design stuff often? I do. It's called hosting Make Anything on YouTube. This is actually my main gig at this point. I still do make things. I'm a bit of a fabricator, but in general, I've been able to sustain myself decently with Make Anything, which is like the coolest thing ever. Okay, I know what I'm doing next. Had to think for a moment there. Actually, this is gonna, Okay, yes. We're gonna do a sketch on the top plane here. I'm gonna create the shape that I wanna cut out here for this lip. And I'm gonna do it in a kind of interesting way, I think. Using the, what's the word? Intersect Combine tool. After doing a few cuts and stuff. So I'm creating this center line again. I'm basically gonna create a piece that matches that section that I'm gonna cut away from. Hold on, is this gonna work? I think so. I'm trying something experimental again. I honestly haven't done much work like this in Fusion. You know, I'm usually doing functional parts. Sorry, by the way, I know I started answering that question about my background. I might talk about it in a bit. I have to focus on what I'm doing here too. Okay. I think this is going to be interesting. I'm going to do a bunch of functions combined and hopefully end up just cutting out that little lip part with a bit of a rounded surface. I'm going to start with this. All right, Devin. How are you doing this? All right, I'm going to extrude in both directions a little bit. Two sides. This is our starting block. That's going to be a new body. He's got a nice mustache now. Whoops, let's make that a little less cluttered looking. I'm gonna create another new material that really stands out. Just for now. Okay. So I want to cut, okay, yes. I know what I'm doing. So we're going to take this piece I just made. First thing we'll do is cut away the lip and nose around it. Although we want to select keep tools because we don't want to get rid of the lip and the nose. So boom, it looks exactly the same, but now if I hide the other parts, you'll see the shape of the nose and the shape of the lip is cut out of that block. All right. Step one. Now we're gonna get up top here, top down. Oh yes, weird view. And I'm gonna create a circle. Like this. That's gonna go all the way up just before this front surface of the tree. I actually think that's a pretty ideal circle placement and position. I'm gonna lock these down just to make sure they don't change. Now I'm gonna select the circle, run it through everything, and yeah, make sure that only cuts away from that blue piece. All right, now I'm gonna take that blue piece and cut it out of the tree and not keep the tool. Boom. Wow, all that for very little. But what you can't quite see here is that this is in fact a curved surface based on that circle. I might make it more dramatic, actually. But, yeah, it doesn't affect like the shape of the nose or the lips, which is basically why I did that. I don't know. Maybe that was a little extra, but let's see if we can make this a little more dramatic. We'll move it like that. That might be too much now. 55. Do 55. Pull that back right there. By the way, if you're like trying to drag something and it keeps wanting to snap to other lines, just hold Control and it won't automatically snap to anything. I find myself using that very often. There we go. So as you can see, it's a bit deeper here on the sides, and then here, as it gets closer to the center, it gets shallower and shallower. Whoops. I did mess up a little bit. There's a gap there for sure. That's because the nose wasn't designed for this. Okay. No problem. I think I can still select that face. Can I? Hold on. Let's hide the tree. I just need to extrude this nose backwards into the face a little more now since we cut away from it. That's actually all we have to do. Extend that like 6 millimeters. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Wow, chat is all cheese. I don't mind the cheese, but let me know what you guys are printing nowadays or today. Does anyone have the printer running right now? If you have your 3D printer running right now, what are you printing? Give us the honest truth. Is it an actual useful thing? Or are you printing another Benchy? Hey, I mean, Benchy is useful. Its use is to calibrate your printer, right? Oh, and I don't know if I just missed the chat or if someone actually explained what this chin thing is. Because what I'm thinking, maybe I'm just not a very cultured person, but I think the chin thing screams Egyptian to me. Tiki, I thought is like Polynesian, Hawaiian. And then he's got a feather cap, which is like Native American, but maybe it's also Hawaiian? I feel like there's a lot of blending of stuff going on here, a lot of motifs. But the thing is, I don't know really what this chin thing is, so I'm scared of designing it in a way that it shouldn't. Anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and get this second lip part here. Before we do that, it's going to have to be... Actually, I'm going to keep that as the surface, and then this part I'm going to cut a little further into the tree. And I think I actually might want to get rid of this for now. No, let's leave it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, David. I should probably look up actual tikis to see if I can find those elements. I mean, I am trying to model this specific design as drawn by the winner of the competition, but there's probably still something to learn. Research is one of those things that I don't often do enough of. I have a really bad habit when I come up with an idea that I really like, where I will refuse to research it because I'm scared it already exists, which of course is the worst way to approach things. If you have a good idea, the first thing you should do is check if it already exists. But I'm always like, no, it's so cool though, and if I don't look it up and I just make it, then I invented it. Which might be technically true in some ways, but in in the world's point of view, it's definitely not true. Anyways. I probably will do a Google search on here in a sec after I do this top delete. I'm just avoiding that piece for now, but as soon as I get this extra lip bit done, I'll probably have to look at that. No way, you do that too? Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I've definitely wondered if it's like some weird personal phenomena or it's actually something that I'm not alone in doing. Okay. So how am I going to do this? It is going to be cut at an angle, so I actually have to do something similar to what I just did with the mouth part here, where I create a tool to cut away instead of just doing a direct extrude cut. So that's why I'm going out of the bounds here. You'll see really soon, but basically we're going to mirror this. And now I'm going to do a new body. But the new body is not a cut. It is instead, what is it instead? Oh, it's going to be a new body. I'm going to have to cut away from this new body before I cut it away from the tree so that it doesn't cut into the base and stuff. You'll see, you'll see. I end up saying that all the time. You'll see when I should really just learn how to explain myself better. Gotta learn how to articulate. All right, so there, I did that. New body. I'll make it blue again, my designated color for tools. Now I can select this face and cut away everything below the base here. Cutting that away from the tool only. This is the stuff that I figured is pretty complicated, and I might be losing some of you, but this isn't a full-blown tutorial. This is more like, watch what I do and learn along the way. It would take me way too long to explain every single little action I do. But there we go. Now I cut it away, and it's not cutting into the roots or anything. And we've got an interesting printable shape. I'll probably add this chamfer back in, actually. I can just select that now, and boom, it's back. Nice. I think that's pretty much what I was going for. Follows the lines here pretty well. I guess I should go a little more aggressive with the taper if I want to match the drawing. Where was that? So instead of, whoops, wrong one. See, this is why I wish each individual thing could be labeled somehow. So yeah, we want this to be a little sharper. So if I make that 50, that's the opposite. 40, 35. I think 35 is my limit. And so the opposite of that is 65? No? 90 minus 35. I was right. I was right. But it won't let me do it. Oh wait, I was wrong. Wait. Oh, never mind. I want this to also be 35. Okay. It depends on which, direction you're counting the angle from, right? That always throws me off. I always have to... It's like the USB thing where you can never plug it in the right way first try. Whenever I'm trying to change the direction of a chamfer, I always do it the wrong direction first. Is there a name for that phenomena? Phenomenon? Okay. Anyways, there we go. It's looking closer. All right, let's look up Tiki real quick. Bop, bop, bop. One second. I always got to make sure I'm not revealing my email or stuff. I've seen far too many people destroy their careers by accidentally revealing something. All right, here's our search for Tiki. And I'm seeing that little chin piece here. A little different. This is actually interesting. I haven't looked this up before, so probably should have. I think I at least had some idea in my head that was correct, though, in making these very blocky in the way they're cut out. Although there are quite a few rounded out bits, too. Like, all of these definitely have some round aspects to them. This one doesn't really. I like the tongue there. That one's fun. I wish I could just watch a little Tiki history video in the background, but YouTube would probably get mad at me. I hear they're cracking down on the laws even more. I could go to jail for playing a song or humming a song or something. Can't say I'm seeing that chin thing exactly like in our Tiki tree here. I think it is Egyptian inspired, which is fine. It would still help to know if there's like a function to that thing. Let's look up King Tut. Oh, right, he has the braid. That's like, did they braid their beard hair like a heavy metal artist or something? Or what about the Sphinx? Didn't the Sphinx have something? No, the Sphinx doesn't have a chin thing. Read to answer, or no, who asked that? Chainsaw Rosary. I use DuckDuckGo as my search engine. They don't collect your data like Google. Alright, well, it was cool to see the tikis, but I can't say I learned a whole lot. I think I'm just going to go ahead and model it out like it is in the drawing. I mean, this is kind of similar, but that's more like a beard. Maybe it is just a beard. Maybe that's his beard. Yeah, he's got a little goatee, for sure. Even though the lines are going horizontal instead of vertical, that would indicate hair, maybe. Tikis are also present in most islands of the Polynesian Triangle, originating in the Marquesas Islands. Wow, so specific. Thanks for the research, Snake Eyes. You are now designated Googler for this stream. All right. So we're gonna draw the chin thing, the goatee chin thing, whatever it is. I'm just trying to decide whether it'll be easier to draw one way or another. I mean, this is going straight into the base, so we don't need to worry about overhangs or anything. We can basically just extrude this straight out from the tree. So I'm gonna select this new front I created here and just draw that in. This should be easy. Once again, I'm using splines. I just like the look we're achieving with very slightly curved things. Just makes it look a little more carved out and a little less computer done. Just getting those slight curves. Oh yes. The magic. Although, I will say, every single curve is increasing the file size of this thing. Straight faces on STL files are super low. They use very little data. So actually my entire game of Tippi Tree, all the leaves and the tree and everything, they don't have any fillets. They're all just chamfers. which makes the file size insanely low. I think the entire game is like 100 kilobytes or something. But once you add a curve, every curve you create in a 3D file is actually hundreds of little tiny flat surfaces, so that increases the file size pretty dramatically. Then again, I don't know how many people nowadays have many problems with file size, especially when it comes to 3D prints. I've definitely done some huge prints, but this isn't huge, so I don't expect any problems here. All right, and we can project this bottom of the base here. Mirror this over. What am I doing wrong? It's not selecting it like it's a closed... Oh, I can turn off. Sometimes other sketches get in the way. You gotta turn them off. There we go. It is in fact a closed profile. A good way to check if you're creating a closed shape is just to hover over it and see if it highlights. If you have an open edge somewhere, it won't fill in. Do I want these horizontal lines? I guess I should. I guess this is going to be a curved, we're going to make a curved face on the front. I know how we're going to do this. Fun. Okay. Yes, so we're good for now. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. I want to extrude it a little less far out compared to this compared to this bottom lip, or whatever it is. And I'm going to make that a new body. Let's see, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm actually going to extrude it further for now, but you'll see that in the end it will tuck under that lip. This is fun. I get to do all kinds of interesting little tricks that I don't normally have to deal with. I'm trying to get these shapes. I'm going to name these bodies too, just so it makes the process a little easier when I know what to turn on and off. Isn't that kind of scary without the nose and the lips? Okay, so what I'm going to do is revolve cut away so that I can get a little curved surface again, and I can also carve out those little lines that are running across it according to the drawing. So I'll select this middle face right here. And the revolve is actually going to be at an angle. Normally you revolve around a vertical axis, but here I want it to be a little further out on the bottom and a little closer in here at the top. So I'm going to create this, I'll create this profile to match that angle. This one is probably going to take a few tries to get it to look right, but that's okay. And we can do a spline. We don't even have to make it a circle or anything. I'm going to take this spline. And right now we're drawing on the left plane, which is cutting right through the center. So I'm basically drawing what I want the middle part. How far out do I want the middle of this cut to go? And then depending on how close or far away I pull this line, the curve will become larger or smaller. Kind of confusing, but you'll see soon. I'm going to actually box off this side because this is what we're cutting away. And then now I can draw in little notches that will be those triangle bits. Or these, yeah, I'm going to cut out some little triangular notches for these 3 stripes. Whatever they may be. I may not know their true meaning, but they are in the drawing. And I will fulfill the wishes of the artist. I could go ahead and dimension these and make them all perfect, but actually maybe not doing that makes it look more hand done. Maybe there's a benefit to being a little messy with this. All right, let's try this out. So now I'll go to revolve. We'll turn our bodies. Oh wait, is the body on? Oh yeah. Oh, profile. Select this big part and our little notches. I'm holding down Control to select multiple faces. And then for our axis, we're gonna select that one. And look at that. It does some weird cut, but we're only cutting it out from our little chin part. Let's hit OK and see what that looks like. Not bad. I mean, it matches the drawing pretty closely. Look at that. I almost even got the lines in the perfect position. I think I'll move them a little bit, just based on my own feel. Well, let's actually make it the same color or similar now, just to get a better idea. I think I'm gonna do some chamfers on the side here as well, but overall, it's not bad. I think I want it to come out a little bit further. Let's go back. I hate that I'm blocking the timeline with my little bit of me. But you can always go back in the timeline, right click on a sketch and edit that sketch. Now we can pull this out a little bit. You can adjust everything. Although since all of these lines are blue, that means it's undefined. So you might find that you try to drag one of these triangles and it ends up causing a whole other thing to happen. Like it can be a little dangerous to leave sketches completely undefined like this. But I'm not afraid of danger. Okay, there we go. I like the amount of curve I got there. Like I said, I could adjust the axis. Well, let me show you actually. So if I were to bring this closer, that means it's revolving around a tighter circle. And that's how you get more of a rounding here, right? And if we pull it away, we get less of a rounding. Nice. All right, the chin thing. Like I said, I'll do some chamfers here on all of these edges. Just kind of looks good. Sometimes that's all the reasoning you need. It looks good. Let's do it. Whoops. Alrighty. That's some good progress. Pretty good, right? I'm happy with it. Some of this stuff kind of disappears right now, but I think it'll actually show out even more detailed when it's printed. Miles and more, you can do this. You can if you keep practicing. A giant cube is the first step. Actually, if you can make a cube in Fusion, that means you're ahead of probably 99% of the people in the world in terms of Fusion 360 skills. So you can look at it that way. All right. So we got the bottom part of the lip here. We've got another little wrinkle here. Question is how I want that fold. Like what's coming in and what's coming out. There's some stuff that's indicated really well by the way that Jen drew it, as in with the drop down shadows here. It's like clear that that's a brow. But right here there's some ambiguity in terms of what all the curves are doing. Looks to me like this is flat and this is going in a little bit. But I need it to still be like on the flat face of the Tippi Tree, so it is kind of tricky. I think, let's see. Yeah, I might have to fudge some things here and there. Maybe I just go straight into the eyes now. Actually, this part would be what's flat forward, I guess. I don't know. See, there's like 3 faces here. Pop, pop, pop. There's more than one way. Save, thank you. I will save as often as you guys want me to, because I know I don't do it enough. By the way, why doesn't every software like this have... Well, never mind. Fusion does have an autosave. If the program crashes, sometimes it'll have it saved for you. But I feel like there should just be a checkbox in every software. Like my video editing, all my Adobe software, Photoshop, there should just be a checkbox. You click it and it just says, click to save every 5 minutes. And yeah, it would interrupt me by saving, but I would live with it. I think it would be a good feature. I'm guessing there's probably already third-party softwares that can do that just by macros or stuff. You can definitely design something to just type Control-S automatically. Whatever. For now, I have you guys to remind me. Okay, I think this is coming out and then in again. That's what's happening. This is a little pop out. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do eyes. We're gonna start the eyes. I think I have some general idea of what's going on here. Once again, we'll start with the middle line since everything here is symmetric. Make sure that's perfectly vertical. And then I'm gonna start this outline here. It's kind of a butterfly shape, Batman mask type deal. As always, make this horizontal because the spline is going to be symmetrical. Boom, that's pretty good. Now I'll do another spline. There is an angle here, but I feel like this is just one continuous thing. For now, I'm going to do this snap to the line. I'm trying to decide whether this should snap somewhere or just kind of go off to the side. I guess it should snap here. I don't want it going beyond this line. So I'll actually make this vertical. I already did. The handle can snap too. Spline's interesting because there's a lot of things you can constrain. You can constrain the points or the actual line or the actual spline. Like, you gotta be kind of strategic about what you're constraining. But look at that. With just 2 points, I was able to follow this whole line pretty smoothly. And I'll do another one here. Wherever there's a point, we start a new thing. All right, I'm actually gonna break my own rule here and not have this one be vertical because look at it, this looks like it's coming down into a V. We don't need this to be smooth either because it's gonna be behind the nose. So there we go, so much for rules. Rules are meant to be broken. All right. That looks pretty good. It does have some kind of tighter curved areas that may cause us some problems with what I'm going to be doing here, but we'll see. Subi, what do I drive now? I sold my BMW and I bought a Honda CR-V. Yeah, economical drivers represent. I'm not I'm not much of a car guy at all. I just happened to start with a really sought after car because I got a good deal on that 328i. Okay, I think first I'm gonna just do this extrusion, then I'm gonna do another extrusion Like this is going to come out, and then I'll cut in the cavities of the eyes, and then I'll throw in the eyes themselves. So let's see. I might actually want to do these two halves separately, but let's see what happens if I just try to extrude this as a new body. Whoops. New body, and let's taper it in 45. And of course it crashes on me. Not 455. So let's see what's happening by slowly working our way up. It looks like this point is hitting, so I should have done it smooth. No, actually, yeah, I should do this as two separate halves. For sure. Now that I think about it, this is going to be way easier to actually model the two parts and deal with the mirroring after we have the shape. So I'm going to bring this together. Well, how do I want to do this? Let's not make this horizontal. This will come up here and kind of do that. Still follows our original drawing pretty well. Yeah. Okay, so this shape now is much easier to extrude and taper. We should be able to do a 45. Yeah, no problem. Like that. And that's pretty good. I might want to make it come out a little further by decreasing the taper angle like that. That looks like a lot, but I'm going to be cutting away a lot of it as well. Let's start here at 40. Start here at 40. Then what do I do from here? Oh, this is going to be tricky. Kind of. Not really. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll do an offset plane and figure out how far out I want this part to be. Or no. Figuring it out as we go here. Thanks for listening to me ramble, folks. By offsetting, I can actually see that the outline it creates and compare that to this outline that we're going for. It's quite a bit different. I think I don't know what I'm doing here exactly, just yet. But I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna start by making the offset higher than everything. Let's see what happens if I just outline this exact shape that we're going for, and if I can't make that work. This doesn't come to quite a point actually, so here we're gonna do just a spline with a tight curve. Whoops. So yeah, sometimes there's not a point, but just a tight curve, and then you can make the spline handle really small. Although that will often run into problems when you're trying to do tapers and draft angles and stuff like that, which is kind of exactly what we're doing right now. So we'll see if this works, and if not, I'll just make it come to a point instead and add a fillet later. There's another point, so we're going to make that its own spline. And this, might as well make it a spline. It's practically a straight line, but not exactly. Yeah, Aaron, I think you're basically suggesting what I'm going to try right now, which is to cut this all out. Oh, I think I didn't make it a new body, which I should have. This needs to be its own new body. It is. Well, in that case, I didn't color it like I should have. This is why, right away, apply new color so you know it's a new body. And then here we can just go ahead and do an extrude cut. Only through that body. Whoa, this does not look like it's gonna work. I was gonna try to chamfer. I would have to do a draft angle. Let's see how this works. Okay, I'm gonna try to do a draft. The pull direction is gonna be this face. That's basically the face that you're going to draft outward or inward from. Drafting is basically just changing the angle. It originates from mold making. When you create a mold of something, you need an angle so that the mold can pull out. And depending on the technique, you might need a different draft angle. So now I can select these faces. And look at that. It does the angle. It's not letting me select this one as well. Oh, yes, it is. And this one? Nice. I'm surprised it's working, actually. Now we can open up the draft. So it's kind of similar to a chamfer, but not exactly. Oh. Looks like there's a limit, but that might be good enough. If we do 65, let's see how that looks from the front. It's definitely gets very thin here, but it's very thin in the drawing as well. That's pretty perfect. I think we might fillet this to make it smooth. Nope, they won't let us do that. Why won't you let me? Okay, there's a little bit peeking out here, which is a bummer. Although we can fix that. It totally looks like Batman, huh? We got all sorts of stuff going on with the tiki. We got the Egyptian beard, native headdress, and Batman eyes. Let's see what happens if I change the draft angle of the first part. Where's that one that I did? Yeah, right here. Maybe I want it to be more shallow. Maybe I do want a 45. It's still peeking into the nose a bit. Oh, there you can see the very slight difference. 45 versus 40. It's very subtle. And I think I'm going to go with the slightly more shallow. This bit, oh my gosh, what do I do here? I can do like a little chamfer, like a 0.4. Look at how big a 0.4 chamfer looks. Just as a reminder, 0.4 millimeters is the width of the nozzle that we're printing with. Just to remind you how tiny these details are. This edge right here, the printer's not actually going to draw a triangle because it's smaller than the width of a nozzle. It's literally just going to be like a little bump, little peep to get that angle. So that kind of works. I could get more control by drafting each angle differently, maybe. Like if this was a slightly more of, let's see what happens if I push-pull it. Oh, that's interesting. It actually transforms way more than I thought it would. Like it's affecting this line. Push-pull is one of those mysterious tools. But I think I might just do that so that I can bring this edge underneath the nose so it doesn't cause those problems. And overall, it didn't seem to affect the shape of our drawing too much. Let's see before and after. Whoops, that's not it. Oh, never mind. That was just affecting the draft angle. So sometimes push-pull, it's kind of this tool where it decides what it thinks you want to do and automatically affects that. So a push-pull might be adjusting a draft angle, or it could be adjusting an extrusion. In this case, it adjusted the draft angle, but that worked really well. If we look at our drawing again. Thanks for the super chat, Kevin. To encourage user skins, could you make a new alternate top of the base that has prongs, and then share a fusion file to attach the prongs? That's an interesting way of going about it. I know a few people suggested having the base and the top be separate just so it's easier to disassemble and pack up if you're trying to create small packaging and stuff. So that could also allow you to make different skins and stuff. But yeah, down the line, I think it would definitely be fun. If anything, I could just release like a blank version that people can model on top of and stuff. I mean, Tippi Tree it's got a lot of really fine measurements that are critical, and that's kind of what you're paying for, that and the idea that I came up with. But if you have the design skills, you know, you could just create your own Tippi Tree from scratch with some work. I'm not against that. I'm not going to sue anyone unless they're making Tippi Tree and pitching it to Hasbro or something. Then I'll be a little upsetty. Wait a minute. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I wanted. See, this outline should be the edge. And it should go all the way in. Oh, I did it wrong. It was working, but I didn't do what I actually wanted. It's actually easier, maybe. I can take this. It's not easier. Let's see what happens if I taper this in. Minus 45. Minus... No. It doesn't like the tapers. Right. I mean, it looks cool, but it's not what I was... It's not matching the drawing. How do I do this? Might be tricky without a 3D sketch. Oh, I know. I've got a new idea. Okay, we're gonna undo this extrude cut. I have this line. What I can do is project that. No, that's basically what I did already. Oh, I did want to do the draft, but I was drafting in the wrong direction, I think. Uh-oh, what am I doing? Okay, yeah. So draft, let's see. The pull direction is wrong. Flip? Does that work? No, I wanted to go inwards instead of drafting outwards. But I want it to go from this line. I think I need to put the pull direction in front of the eye. Let's see what happens if I select that construction plane that I made right here. No, now it won't even let me do anything. It is a weird cut going on here. Oh, Aaron says the beard is Ta Mocha tattoos from Maori. Is that what it is? I should look that up. What is it called? Mocha. Is it, so it is a beard then? What? I'm just getting mocha coffee machines. Maori tattoo. I do want to see this thing, even though I already modeled it. Ta Mocha. Oh, is it supposed to be like the tattoo? Yeah, I'm not going to share this search. There's too many tattooed butt cheeks. This is why I don't show it live. I see, I see. Oh, here's a great example from The Sims. You can get a Maori tattoo in The Sims. How interesting is that? I guess that makes sense. So maybe it wouldn't actually be sticking out of the face, but this is a 3D skin, so I still think the way I modeled it works out. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of the draft angle, and we're gonna do a 3D sketch. This is gonna be interesting. Let's see how it works. So, basically, I want to go from this interesting line. See how this makes a crazy 3D sketch? I need all of that to taper inward. Yeah, I think the way this was drawn doesn't actually work in real life as easily. Some things you can draw, but like as a two-dimensional thing, it works fine, but once you try to go 3D, it gets weird. That might be what's going on here. I might have to change the outline of the eye a little bit. Thanks for the super chat, baby cakes. And yes, I just looked up the Tamoka and showed that, if you guys caught it. I appreciate that you guys spammed the chat until I saw that. It's good to know what I'm doing, right? Okay, so let's get into the surface modeling here. See what happens. Surface modeling is crazy. Well, okay, let me go back again. Here's something I haven't done since I worked in SolidWorks, so I don't know if it even exists in Fusion, but can I project to surface? There we go. Select a plane or face to create a sketch, or select an existing sketch. Faces. Okay. Ooh, no, this isn't working. Do I have to make it a 3D sketch? Faces. 1, 2, 3. Curves. Here are the curves. Let's project it to the surface. No, not support projecting sketch geometry in... Whoa, I've never seen such strange grammar. I've never seen a grammatical issue in Fusion 360, actually. What does this mean? Not support projecting sketch geometry into same sketch. Please change the target sketch or geometry. Okay. I have to start a new sketch, I guess. It's gonna be my 3D sketch. Oh, wow, thank you. I am huge. Whoops. That's okay. I wasn't actually getting anything done. Okay. All right, so let's try again. S to search, project to surface. It's like this. 3D sketch, faces. 1, 2, 3. Curves. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there it's starting to project. Oh no, along vector, is that what we want? Closest point started to project, but it did this weird thing. Because I guess that's closest to the drawing. Along vector should work, but it's not. Okay, so we're gonna do, instead we're gonna do a split body. I'm gonna split this body, use this as a tool. Let's see how this works. So there we go, we've got our edge again. But is this helping at all? Not really. All right, I might have a few garbage sketches in my timeline now. This is gonna take a while. It needs to be a 3D sketch. So now I can make a 3D sketch based on this line here. Let's select our plane here again. Draw on it, even though it's a 3D sketch, so it's not confined to a plane. Now if I use project, with that 3D sketch box checked, it should project in 3D, but it doesn't. It's not projecting in 3D. Why? split the face. Yeah, that's what I did. Okay, here's another way to do it, maybe. I think we're gonna have to end up going into the surface tool space, because we're gonna start getting some weird lines. So I can try to create a boundary. Is it a patch or no, we're trying to, all right, boundary fill. Let's see what happens if I do boundary fill. Oh my gosh, I don't do this nearly often enough. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, patch. But if I select all of these faces as a patch, maybe. No. Oh yeah, there's a very strange surface. That's probably not going to help us. If I created interior rails and points, could I have it go to a point? That's kind of what I needed to do, is to go to one point on the center. Ooh, maybe that'll work. If I draw a point here, let's see what happens. I'm going to turn off the 3D sketch thing for now. If I say I want them all to go to this point, boom, because that's where the eye is going to be. He's actually a little cross-eyed. Okay, so now I have that point. If I try to do a patch, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm trying it. It's interesting enough, at least. But then there's that weird thing, like this point, if only the point lined up with the edge right there, that's the kind of stuff I might need to fudge about with. Okay, boom, point. Hey! It's doing it. It's creating a crazy type of curve in order to do it, but that might actually work, because there's going to be an eye in there anyways. I think it's going to work. Wow, interesting. Group edges? Do we want to group the edges? I guess so. All right, let me just hit OK for now. See what we're getting. I need another color here. Surfaces are wild, man. You get these crazy things. I mean, this point, I should really try to fix it. I mean, look at that. It created a gap. It's having too much trouble. That's not going to work. Not well, at least. Well, first let's try moving this point inwards a bit. Exoscale, another cheesy chat. Wow, we're at $100 with the cheesy chats. I mean, super chats in general, but I'll go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt that it says all super chats are towards chats for cheese charity. Oh man, we're close. I mean, look at how wild this is. It's just a little too crazy for fusion, but I think it might still work if I can deal with this. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with this? That's a good question. I should be able to just adjust that sketch so it's on the line. Oh wait. Do we have two sketches here? I forget how. I'm already forgetting what I've done. Roll here. Okay. Ah, yes. This should be easy. All I have to do is snap it to this line by projecting it. Project the line, bring this over, boop. So that is breaking from the original sketch a tiny, tiny bit. Not really at all. I wonder if bringing this point up here would help. Probably. Okay. I think we're getting somewhere, folks. Let's project all the lines. I mean, this one isn't even close. So that one I'm not gonna try to do anything there, because I do want to stick with the intent of the artist as much as possible. Here we're changing the shape of the eye maybe a tiny bit. Taryn, thank you. Man, you were really going in hard for the cheese, man. I can't say I understand. I mean, I somewhat. Like, if I had to pick my favorite ingredient, people always say, like, oh, what's your favorite food? That's a hard enough question, but favorite ingredient is probably cheese, man. So, respect, I guess. All right, let's see if we can go forward and if it fixes itself. Heyo, look at that. These are still not lining up perfectly, but it might be close enough that Fusion can fix itself. Let's go ahead and throw in the eye before we commit to this, because it's going to affect some things. I think I'm going to do this entire eye. Thank you, Joaquin, for the super chat. No sun required. You're getting a new 3D pen. Would I recommend the 3Dissimo? You know what? I haven't tried their Pro pen, but the original one that I really liked back in the day, I got 2 of them and they both clogged. So I would probably straight up not recommend it unless you're sure you're going to be using the other functions a lot. Like if you plan to do a lot of soldering and you don't own a soldering iron, or you're going to cut foam because it has a foam cutter, or burn wood. If you want to do a little bit of everything, then 3Dissimo is good, but generally you're probably better off getting individual tools. For 3D pens right now, I'm pretty much just recommending the Mint 3D pens. Let's see what happens if I move the point here right to the center of the eye. Yeah, Mint 3D pen works so well, and it's like the best combination I've experienced with price, functionality, and reliability, especially the reliability. I only have used them so much. It's the newest pen I've gotten, so I can't say 100%. But I put it through a lot and it worked out just fine. Apparently it's got a special patented dual gear to prevent clogging, and that makes sense to me. It's got a all metal, I don't think it's all metal, but it's got like special construction to prevent clogs. They say it's virtually clog proof, and that's the thing that's brought down pretty much every pen of mine that's failed. Almost every pen of mine that's failed has been because of a clog. So if you can actually avoid clogging, that's right on. Still weird here what's going on with some of these edges. Is it because of the chaining or the grouping? No. Let's see, there are settings here I can adjust. But for now, I'm not going to. Okay, anyways, like I said, let's do the eyeball real quick. The eyeball, I'm gonna just do as its own thing and then move it into place. I'm gonna save. Read, yeah, I don't know if they, I'm paraphrasing. I don't think they patented the dual gears, but who knows, maybe they have a special system that works better for 3D pen compared to 3D printing, or it's different somehow. I'm just loosely reporting what they told me. All right, we're gonna borrow some technique from our classical sculptors of the Roman age and Greece. Marble sculpting. Oh, I took art history, but I forgot the term. But basically, once again, like I said, we're trying to draw everything with shadow and light. So for a pupil, you can't draw the pupil, so you just create it by creating a cavity. I don't know what I'm saying. I actually forgot how the Greeks do it exactly. I don't know if they just cut out a dome. Michelangelo. How do you do it, Michelangelo? I should Google it. might learn something. First thing I'm going to learn is how to spell Michelangelo. All right, let's take a look at these eyes. Look at that. That's what I was trying to talk about. He's got the little highlight in there. Chink. I don't know. It's like a little pretzel shape or a heart. And then the iris just has a thin outline around it. Man, this guy was a pro. They're hearts. Little heart eyes. Dude, just the shadow he gets in the brow there is intense. One thing I did learn in art history about David is the fact that he was meant to be placed way high up on top of a building, a church or something, I'm guessing. So he's actually designed with that in mind. The parts that are lower down, like the size, he's not proportioned to a human necessarily. He's proportioned to look more human-like from that weird angle where you're looking up at him. So I think his hands are weirdly huge and stuff like that. I don't know. Wow. I should stick to what I'm good at. Let's keep designing in Fusion 360. So I'm not going to actually cut this out as a circle. I'm going to cut it out as a cone. That way we get really deep shadows. And I'll add in back that little highlight bit, I think. I have to now since I spent the time looking it up. No idea what size I want the eyeballs or anything to be yet, but let's just do a quick test. Let's revolve this like that. Whoa. Wait a minute. I don't know why it's trying to join. What is it trying to join to? There's nothing to... What's going on here? Why is it creating two? Oh. My bad. Because I already did one before. Alright, that looks way too large for a pupil. Even though looking at the Tiki guy, he does have a pretty big pupil. So that's going to be the pupil, and then we'll do another little triangle cutout for the iris. Check this out. Alright, that's not great yet, but we're getting there, right? Right. Michelangelo is not jealous yet. But we're getting there. I think this has to be like a really tiny little... Yeah, like 0.2 maybe. Maybe I'll do a fillet or something to smooth it out a little bit. Like that. Oh. That's working pretty well. It's kind of like a stepped action going on. Pupils are still too large. Everything's a little too large. The thing is, the eyeball is probably way bigger because most of it is inside of the head. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this some dimension so we can control it. I'm gonna make this 18 degrees. This, how do we want to measure this? First of all, I think, oh, whoa. See, this is what happens when you don't fix things. You try to move this little dot and you end up moving everything. We can actually just, we can just select the center point and fix it, which isn't the most technically correct way to do things. You usually don't want to just use that fix command. You're better off figuring out exactly how to, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways. Alright, getting a little closer. I love all these half thoughts that I'm starting. Super handy. Oof, this is so annoying without proper constraints. So I'm going to do it over again. I'm going to create a line coming out. Then one side of this, going like that. And then I'm going to mirror that across this little line. And I'm going to make this exactly 0.3. Make this exactly 0.5. So it's a nice sharp cut. We're going to get a deep outline now. Boom. Reselect that. That's too deep. But let's see what happens when I put the fillet here. I mean, it's dramatic, but kind of works. Kind of works. Let's go ahead and pop this into place. Taryn wants a cheese version of Tippi Tree. Now that is something that was submitted to the competition. It wasn't you, was it? That would make a lot of sense if you were the one who had the cheese submission. Oh, so the hole we're cutting into the pupil is actually deeper. Obviously, it's cutting into the tree, so we're gonna have to do some funky stuff there. And I think I'm still gonna have to make the pupil smaller. Yeah, this is actually a pretty tricky eye to do. I think we have to literally make him more cross-eyed, so we're actually gonna angle the pupils inward a bit. Like that. We're getting there. Oh, but my little trick with the eyes is messing with the border here. Kind of affects the outline of the eye. Let's just take a quick look at it though. Ah! Yeah, I definitely have to work on that. Pupil's gonna get smaller. We're gonna make that 15 degrees. This is gonna get smaller. We're gonna make that 0.3, make this 0.2. I might just, I don't know if I even want that. We're gonna make the iris smaller by reducing this angle to 35 for now. We're gonna delete this fillet for now, so it's just a straight up sharp cut. Actually, I would like to fillet this inner part. Yeah, maybe not. It's so tiny. Once again, it's so tiny that when it's actually printed, it won't be such an aggressive cut. So right now the eye is kind of filling out here a little too much, so maybe a little less cross-eyed and a little repositioning still. Maybe just like that. It's definitely a trial and error type thing. There we go. I think that's it. I can't achieve the full level of cross-eyedness, but that's pretty cross-eyed. Yeah, I think that matches the drawing pretty well. I'm gonna have to get those lines going around, I suppose. That's gonna be maybe a little challenge as well, but for now, let's see if we can actually turn this into a solid shape, because we still got that surface right here that's kind of debatable whether Fusion will be able to turn that into an actual shape. As you can see here, it's totally hollow in the back. So in order to close this up, oh, you can see how weird it actually is. Luckily the eyeball is taking up most of that space. But that doesn't mean we have to solidify it first. So we have one surface. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy all of these other surfaces using the offset tool. 1, 2, 3. That's all of it. a 0 millimeter offset. So it's literally just duplicating that. And now I can do one more patch right here on the back. Boom. Uh-oh. That's not good. That means I have to, okay. I have to create another little offset plane here. Go here. And on that sketch, I'm just gonna draw a point. Because once again, just like I did on the front, I'm gonna have it snap to that point so that this back patch doesn't overlap the other patch. See that? Now it bulges inward. And if I get rid of this outside part of the eye, look at that. We're left with a shape that looks solid. To make it solid, if we didn't break fusion, we're going to select this stitch tool and select all of this. Oh, one red line. Look at that. We're so close. Wait, now it's green. Now it's red. Now it's green. Why is it changing color? Depending on how I look at it. Okay, maybe if I just look at it from this angle. Click OK. Ah, no, it didn't make it solid. See, it's still orange here. It didn't turn into a solid body, which means it was able to stitch it together, but it wasn't able to make it solid. There is something weird going on. And that's a bummer. And just because this edge is really weird. If you really look at it up close, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on. I could increase the tolerance, but there's still 2 unstitched edges here. I wonder why. I don't know why it's changing colors. Yeah, let's see if I try to do like a section analysis. Sure enough, it is hollow. So all that work, this edge is just too weird, it seems. I wonder how else we can make it work. I mean, we could try to make this less aggressive of a dip in our first surface by moving this dot. And to do that, I have to make another offset plane. This is weird. This is getting to the point where I'm not happy because it might not work. So we'll redefine the sketch plane right here. The dot moves a little bit. And then the patch is still happening. Looks okay here. But the body, my mind is telling me yes, but the body function is telling me no. It looks like it should work. I mean, yeah, it's a crazy surface, but it's like creating edges. Let's try this one more time. I mean, yeah, look at those edges. When you actually, before the stitch, it's all messed up. So Fusion is doing its best. It's trying here. I will be able to get this, just maybe not with the same accuracy of following the outline. Use it. Oh, smart. Cut this surface out. Lycanth 08. That is a smart idea. I see a lot of you have ideas. I'm sorry if I missed you. Okay, I'm gonna move that eye point back then. Control Z until it's back to how it was before. Did I Control Z too much? No. Okay. Use this surface to cut away from the solid piece. That could work. If we still had the solid piece. We kind of already... and then we wouldn't need these surfaces, these other stuff. This will be easier if it works. I'm gonna just go all the way back here. Whoops. To not mess up anything, instead of trying to undo some things and not undo everything. Hold on. Where's the eye before we cut out? There we go. So at this point, before it's split, I'm just gonna copy and paste to make a separate copy of it. That way Fusion still thinks everything's fine and cool. It's like, yeah, I can still do all this other stuff that we did. But then I'm gonna turn this one off and turn on our new one. Give us that body we created. Let's see how this works. Okay, we're gonna do a split command. Split body. Split this guy with that guy. And we can extend it a bit, even though that just shows how crazy it gets when you extend it. And that's probably why it isn't working in the first place. Look at that, it's madness. Do I need to extend it? Let's see if I can do it without extending. Oh, I think it worked. You're brilliant, man. You're brilliant. It worked. It's definitely got weird, like, imperfect surfaces, but it's doing the job. That, I'll take it. I'll take it. Awesome suggestion. Thank you. And with that, I'll save. And maybe do some cleanup now. So now we have a bunch of extra parts we don't need. I think I can literally delete these surface offsets. Maybe I shouldn't take the risk. See, if you delete something, it'll also destroy anything that you've done in the past with your project that uses that part. But on the other hand, you can use the remove tool, which removes it at this point in your design on the timeline. So there's an actual remove there. Still exists earlier in the timeline, but once you get here, it's gone. That's the safer way to remove things. We can do that with this part as well. I don't know why the eye... Oh, right. Wait. Did I mess up? Did I use the wrong cut for the... Did I use the wrong cut? Because the eye's not sticking out nearly enough. Let's move some things around. I'm happy that worked, though. I'm gonna make this work. Is it? Oh, that offset thing I did happen. Or did it? Where's that point that I made it? Hold on. See, now I'm losing track of myself here. Okay, here's the surface. Ah, yes. So I didn't undo enough. That point. I need the deeper version of that point. So I need to not... Yeah, okay. Redefine the sketch plane, put it back here. Uh-oh, I hope this doesn't break everything again. This offset, we don't want. Delete it. Please still work. Yes! Okay, cool. I love it. Let's see how well it's lining up with the drawing right now. We're close, we're close. Should I make him a little more cross-eyed like the drawing? so that it... Yo yo yo. I always thought it's so funny and goofy that they do that. Like, the actual tikis are often cross-eyed, right? And like warrior masks and stuff. I guess it's meant to be intimidating, but it looks kind of dumb if you ask me. Just kidding. Maybe. I don't know. I guess I would be more scared if a warrior was running at me cross-eyed. I'd be like, where's he looking? What's he aiming for? You know? I don't know. What am I saying? Oh, we do have it overlapping the nose again. It's probably been doing that for a while. Huh. Maybe I'll just have the nose come out a bit further there. What happens if I push-pull this? Can I make his nose a little pointier still? Oh. Could have if that didn't happen. Look at that. Whoa. When push-pull goes wrong. Yeah, I guess it's because of those chamfers I did. Well, that's actually... no. Let's not do anything there for now. Well. I didn't notice this line here before, but it looks like maybe the flat part of his nose should go all the way up to here. Dare I go backwards and see what happens? Let's go backwards a little bit. If you click on a part, it should highlight on the timeline the last time that part was used, so you can roll back to there. Go back a little further. So here it is. This is where we figured out our nose shape. Oh, I could actually make it stick out. I don't know why I made it go straight up. Okay. I think I might make it a little more complex. Well, let's see what happens now if I just do what I just did. Taryn, drink some water, eat some cheese. You know what? You're at 120 in super chats, and I know a lot of that was you, so I think I'm gonna do that. I think it's time to fulfill the cheese wishes. Yeah. Even though I'm scared after I eat that cheese, everyone's gonna leave the live stream because the most important part has already happened, right? So I made the nose bigger. Makes me think I really should have done the nostrils separately because this works. Pretty well. Although the nostrils look kind of funny. Hold on, I gotta get to a point where I can take a break. I gotta take I have to get to a natural pause point. Shoot. It's gonna be a bit of work if I decide to separate the nostrils from the nose. But I might have to. It might cause some problems with this bit that I cut out. Oh, looks like I already did break something. Oh yeah, I already messed up with the chamfers a little right there. Alright, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna go back and mess with the nose. Might end up with a detour longer than we hoped for. Let me undo all this for now. Before we do that, I just want to get to a nice point where I can do another quick render for you guys. See how it looks as I go get some water and cheese. But let's just do a quick, I'm going to do a few extra steps just to preview this. I'm going to mirror the eye. Gotta have the eye on both sides. Whoops. Uh-oh. That makes me wonder if this really is solid. Oh, it is. It's just two separate parts. What? Oh, I accidentally kept that other eye bit. Whoops. Hold on. This is what I was talking about, removing bits. This piece we don't need. This is where my timeline gets unnecessarily messy. I mean, we just want new bodies for now. Give us our lips back. All right. I'll make it more as it will be. As cool as the colors are, that is not our constraint here. Single part. I know it was a challenge for y'all to design your competition entries as a single color, single part, so I ought to make it work that way as well. I know this is two colors, but shh. For now. For now. Looks pretty cool. All right, I'll be right back while this runs. Well, well, well. I guess it's time to fulfill the chat's cheesy dreams. To answer your question about my favorite cheese, well, I don't even know about favorite, but my go-to cheese is Munster. Munster cheese. Rather mild, but man, it goes well with everything. I'm a big fan of the sharper cheeses as well. A nice strong Gouda. Oh, not much beats that. But Munster is just, I don't know, classic in my household. Maybe it's a German thing. Smells, I mean, what does cheese smell like other than cheese, you know? I must say, it's much better melted, but for you guys. Anything else? Anything else you want me to do with the cheese? This is your moment. Is boring? Munster is boring? Maybe. Do I roll my cheese? No. In fact, with string cheese, I always made sure to pull very small strings. Anyone who just takes a bite out of string cheese is a monster, and you can't change my mind. Thanks for the super chat, Eli. You're welcome. That's about it. That's all I got. I really don't know how to describe cheese. It literally tastes like cheese. I will say, like, eating it straight up, Munster isn't the best. I mean, mozzarella sticks. I'd much rather have mozzarella sticks right now. But on a grilled cheese, Munster. On sourdough. Cheese on the inside and outside. In fact, you know what? I have a cheese-related project that might be coming up pretty soon, so y'all are gonna be stoked. Anyways, I guess that was a good snack. You can see here around the eyes how crazy this surface is. I do wonder, there might be some little islands, like little bumps that do show up when it's printed in a weird way. Especially this bottom part where it's like nearly flat. If there's a little bump, it might just be like, oh, I just need to draw a circle randomly there. But it does look like it's all sloping upwards a little bit. The corner here is kind of weird. Something I'll have to look out for when we're printing it. I'm noticing it's very pointy though. We might want to throw another chamfer on here, despite the design, just to make it not so dangerous. Last thing I want is someone hurting themselves on a Tippi Tree. So let's see if it'll even let me do a tiny chamfer. No, that's surprising-ish. Guess it's not surprising considering what a weird surface this is. We might just want to move on. If that point is a problem, I can always deal with it another way. Oh, it is really weird though. I might just cut a little flat spot off there. Or, I don't know. kind of feel like this part of the eye should come down further. Do I change the design that much though? Or do I stay faithful? I'm doing a pretty good job of being faithful to the original right now, but part of me wants to just move this. Oh, I could be faithful if this edge was just here, but that would probably require an entire redesign. What would it take? Yeah. We're gonna move on for now. Oh, I'm big again. Shoot. I had to be big for the cheese thing. One day I'll understand how to live stream. Okay, so there are some weird things going on here now. Before we mirror, also, let's go all the way back to that ball, the eyeball. I do want to put in that little highlight thing that Michelangelo taught me when I was a young boy. So what I'll do is just create another sketchy sketch, or I'll return on that eyeball sketch and do another revolve, but with just this section. And I'll make that axis just, oops, 25. I got the cheese burps now. This is what happens. Symmetric. That's pretty good. What? Why is it trying to join? There's some weird stuff going on here where it's joining to a body that is not even touching. I'm not sure what that means, but hey. All right, add that little curve, and then we'll also give it the little swoops, just like my buddy. That's very close to his little heart shape, isn't it? Something like that. Maybe, kind of. Let's make this 35 degrees, a little sharper. There we go. A little tiny detail that probably no one will notice. That's what I'm about. And yeah, it works. I do need to cut. Oh my gosh. Look how weird this surface is. This is supposed to be the easy part. That's supposed to just be a circle. Why is it so crazy? Okay, whatever. I do want... That's going to be annoying to print, though. That's not going to print that well. I might have to ditch Michelangelo. I want to rotate it a little bit as well. Is that going to work? Might be getting a little too freeform here. The eyes are not going to be symmetrical if I'm doing things like this. But can I get close enough? Maybe. That should print a little bit better. It is breaking the rules a bit about overhangs, but because it's so small, I think it could work. Oh no, that looks weird. His eyes got wonky. I think we keep it vertical. Or before we do that, we'll just do the angle here. And then it's going to be mirrored, which is the problem. We don't want the highlights facing each other. Although that actually looks better with the highlights facing each other. Never mind. I'm going to keep it as is, which is essentially acting as if he's being lit right from straight ahead. That works. Taryn, I'm glad you found this stream interesting. Probably helps that you had an initiative the whole time to get me to eat cheese. Oh, baby cakes. I forgot to answer your second question. Odds of Cool Guy 3 in 2021. The odds are low, but not impossible. That's all I could say. It's unlikely, but not the most unlikely. Sorry, I gotta throw away my cheese wrapper here. I am about to wrap it up for today, but this has been going pretty well. I'm making good progress. I'm having fun doing it. Yes, maybe I would be done already if I was doing this all alone, but I wouldn't be having nearly as much fun, and I wouldn't be eating nearly as much cheese. So, question is if this is where we wrap it up, or if we take it a little bit further. Look at that. When I zoom out, it's like the eyes are almost overlapping. Sorry, I'm kind of like racking my mind right now. I'm wondering if I can make this work a little bit better just by adjusting that one point, that guide point that I have right here. I'm wondering how much of a difference it makes. If I were to move that like down a little bit, that would technically make this bottom part steeper and this top part more shallow. Good for printing, but maybe weird for this little overhang point. Let's see what that does. Whoa, already looks better. I noticed the iris is a lot larger than the drawing, I think, because you can only see a little bit of it. Oh, it's because I also tilted them a bit. We're going to make that smaller. Trust the artist. So maybe that's just 25. No, that's too small. 30. That's better. Maybe it is between 25 and 30. Maybe it's 27. I'm not tweeting cheese burps. You would have had to meet that $200 goal if you want me to go that far. To leak into my Twitter. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut away some extra bits here. So the way I'm going to do this, I don't know if I want to commit to combining the eyes to the tree already, but the cut goes into the tree, so I'm going to have to. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut the tree. No, we're going to start. Yes. Outer eye here. We're going to cut away from that with our eyeball. We're going to select Keep Tools so that our eyeball doesn't disappear. What that does is it splits the eye away from the little extra bits that are in here. Well, we'll get there. Anyways, I'm going to do the same thing again with the tree. Cut the tree with the eyeball. Now if I hide all of this, you get the little extra bits that were inside of the eyeball. And look what an awful shape that is. That's just, wow. Fusion hates me right now. What is this shape? Is this gonna print? Anyways, those are the parts I don't want. So now I can select all of that. Whoops. Which is these two bodies. Remove them. Wait, this tree, that's not the tree. Oh my gosh. Part of the tree, I guess. Remove it. Now when we add everything back, we've got our eyeball, and the hole goes all the way to the deepest depths. That awful shape, which I'm not sure I want. I guess it has to do with that fillet I did. Yeah. Let's look at this fillet once more. See if we can break something. I think I might just want to do one at a time. Maybe like that. Let's make this 0.3 also. Or even 0.2. I want that to be pretty tight. Okay, 0.2. And I'm going to roll back here and do a separate one here. Maybe also, oh, see now it won't let me. Oh, there we go, 0.3 works. That looks pretty good. All right. Now if we go here, everything else is the same, except our depths are a little nicer. It is weird back there still, but it's gonna be very dark like that. You won't even see it. Let's do that on the other eye now. Cut away from the eyebrow with the eyeball. Cut away from the tree with the eyeball. Hide eyeball, hide eyebrow, hide tree. Select the rest. Be gone. Whoa. Oh, there's this weird thing about Fusion. If you select it like this, it highlights in the tree, but if I right click, it doesn't let me remove. I have to actually select it manually, then I can remove it. Weird, but just in case you're wondering why it doesn't give you that option sometime, that's why. All right, now we've got nice, deep, soulful eyes. Ah, Michael, you're asking why I don't use Autodesk Inventor instead of Fusion 360. I've never used Autodesk Inventor, and it's kind of just a result of my journey through CAD. I learned SolidWorks in college, and I used SolidWorks at the beginning of Make Anything when I was starting to do 3D printing projects. And then Autodesk reached out, and I flew over to San Francisco and actually learned Fusion 360 at Autodesk. The basics, you know, just like a quick 2-hour course or something. But it was one-on-one, very helpful. And I realized how similar it was and was able to quickly switch over to Fusion. I loved the fact that it's free for hobbyists, and it still is. And that's actually the real answer. The reason I use Fusion 360 is because it's more accessible. It's easier for all of you to get your hands on it, even though they're getting a little confusing about it. But you can still get Fusion 360 absolutely free if you're just using it for your personal projects. Hobbyist license. Look into it. I want you all on Fusion. This is what I dream of, a world where everyone has a 3D printer, everyone has design skills. You don't have to order anything anymore because you can just make it yourself. Okay, that's a bit much, but literally, you can make just about everything you need. You can personalize it perfectly to yourself. It doesn't have to ship from halfway across the world. You can fix things instead of throwing them out. That's one of the coolest things about 3D printing. I mean, we can't ignore the hazards of plastic, but there's a lot of good that comes from 3D printing as well. A lot of waste is actually saved by fixing things with 3D printing. It's not just waste being created by all the stupid things that some people print. This wouldn't be stupid. This is entertainment value right here. Hey, this looks so cool already, and we're like, I think we're more than halfway done with the face. We've still got the whole roots to do. And we're going to do all of that. Well, maybe not all of it, but we're going to keep working on this tomorrow. I think I'm going to stop here for tonight because this is looking pretty good. I'd say it's a solid place to take a break. I got to do my exercise for the night, so this is what it is for now. A pretty great looking tiki tree. I'm really happy with it, actually. Really love this cutout from the cheek. Super pleased that I was able to get the eye shape to work. Even though it might change, still a little wonky. I think that's one of those things that I'm going to have to print out and then decide if it works or it doesn't work as a printed physical thing. Yeah, I'm happy. Like I said, I was winging it from the beginning of this today. I woke up and I was like, well, I'm going to open up Fusion 360. I'm going to take the drawing of the tiki tree, put it over my regular Tippi Tree, and hope it works from there. And so far, it's been working. Totally working. Really well. Yes, this is 3 hours of work, but that's actually not too bad. Especially considering I've had company the whole time. Luke, no vector file because I just want it to be done in Fusion so that I can share it with you guys on live stream. A. B. Yeah, I don't have Illustrator on this computer, but also I'm figuring it out as I go. It's not as easy as just taking the graphic and projecting it onto the image, right? I have to create different angles and like different parts are created one at a time. So it's actually easier for me to do it all within Fusion. But yeah, there's many ways to approach anything, right? Well. Anyways, that's that. Thank you guys so much for joining. It's awesome to have a couple hundred people in the room keeping me company this whole time and encouraging me and making me eat cheese, I suppose. I'll go ahead and, yeah, this worked out. So that means I'm going to stream tomorrow. I'll put up a, what's it called? I'll schedule the stream for tomorrow, a little later tonight, but same place, same time. Hope to see some of you here, maybe some new faces as well. Sorry for everyone in Europe who's in a deep, deep sleep right now. And shout out to all of you who stayed up late because you're just crazy. All right. That was fun. Cool. Loving it. All right. See you guys soon. Take care. Stay inspired. And cut. And cut. 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 Stop the stream.